exciting. They'll be prepared to take the game on. There's genuine superstars of the competition, you know, in almost every line, Jace. It's going to be a belter.
And we get two teams that love to keep the scoreboard ticking over. They're attacking. They'll take the game on when they get the opportunity. Look for some really fast ball movement if and when that corridor opens up, and they can be explosive.
It's going to be Brisbane's ball. Who's going to call?
Toss of the coin. And exchange to the middle of the MCG. Carl Amon from the Hawks. Kalachi from the Lions. Enjoy the game is the message, and both these teams really do. And hopefully they will put on a show for us. That man's been in outstanding form too, Carl Amon.
Depth through the middle of the ground for Hawthorn is going to be tested today. There's no question about that. I think Connor Nash coming back into this side, Jason, is underrated by lots of people. His ability and capacity to go and play on an opposition, you know, gun. I don't know whether he'd go to Neil, but he might even take one of the Ashcroft boys if need be. If they get off the chain, as Sam alluded to, they've got plans everywhere if it does get a bit dangerous.
And what he does do is he gives you a bigger body in the middle of the ground. So we spoke about Ward, who's been playing plenty of time in the middle. He's very slight in frame. McKenzie's another one, but Nash comes in with that big body that can impose himself around the stoppage.
I'm looking at this Brisbane side. Kyle Loman's coming to the bench. So this is a footballer that at the end of the season,
isn't it?
Last year was about set to come on and be one of the most exciting players in the competition. Now, had some injury, had some interruption, no question about that, but he's been a shadow of him. His former self. On this stage, you'd think that this might be the thing, taking back the grand final day and the memories there, and you might see him turn one on. It's going to be big. It's going to be exciting. Barris goes down to play fullback, so he'll be enjoying. He's going to Eric Hipwood. That's a matchup that's going to determine lots. Two of the big key influences on their teams today.
And really important for Eric Hipwood to get on his bike, to be mobile, to lead. He's not going to win the body-on-body battle.
Impia laid out for the Hawks. McGuinness comes in. He's the starting sub alongside Robertson. Both Ashcroft boys starting on the bench. Twilight footy, Saturday afternoon, MCG. Meek back in the side. Neil immediately bursts through Zorko to Fort. Moore applies the tackle. Then Brosio with the first clearance out of the middle. At the back of Gunston, Payne. Keeps it in tight. And just hooks it round the corner. Good contest. Amon is there, gets a fist on it. Lockie Neal, first possession for him. Down the outer side. Comes back in on the 45. Barris is there on Hipwood. And the Hawks take possession.
Through Ward. He's hoping to go back. Switch is pretty quick from Battle to Morrison. And Jath running for him. He goes down to Joel. Rushing 3 goals last week. One of them absolutely memorable. Kicking multiple goals regularly of late, but he has to take this rather slowly, and it was well predicted by Payne to get in front of Gunston, who had to switch roles there.
Yeah, so Payne and Gunston is the matchup there. It was Harris and Chol. See whether that plays out. Ward went to Lockie Neal at the start, centre bounce. We know that doesn't mean a hell of a lot, but we'll just keep an eye on matchups through there. Dunkley was also with Warple.
It looks like Gunston is trying to get to Harris Andrews. That's the matchup we saw last time that's been talked about, but Harris seems to be trying to go to somebody else. But nothing doing there.
Sicily's got Archie in the back half. Gardner was a surprise packet last week, kicked a few goals.
Ginnivan in the long sleeves alongside his skipper, Morrison. Back to Jath. Kick smothered as he went to go inside 50, and a chance for Cameron. The aggressive kick towards Archie. Jath stays down, read it beautifully. Barris with the head already taped up. And the high ball towards centre wing. Fort sets himself alongside Meek Moore. Dunkley immediately under pressure, does well to get boot to ball. And Bailey.
Advantage hand taken by a good man in Rayner. Tucks the kick into the pocket. Morris got out, Hipple got out body. This is Morris now. Trying to spin past Amon. Morris goes back after it again.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Weddle. So Weddle was able to cover there. So we talked about the Barris and Hipwood matchup, but Weddle just peeled off, and his athleticism allowed him to go with Hipwood stride for stride.
Still no score. Lions trying to change that. Rayner to Neil. Towards full forward. Gaff didn't take the mark. That spells trouble. Berry received the handball. Still they don't score. Archie set him up low. He was running away from goal on the wrong foot.
It's a let off for the Hawks because Lockie Neal was on his own at the back of that stoppage. Didn't have an opponent within 5 metres, and then check what Giath got his hands to the ball. You've got to take those marks, and you're immediately under pressure. They're so good to pounce on anything the Lions forwards.
Battle across from the Saints. Started well in his new colours to aim on. Having a wonderful season. It's a low ball, darting to Moore. Tries to get away from the tackle and can't get through Fletcher.
Good decision by the umpire. I think he was looking to draw the high contact. He ducked down once the tackle came. Good pressure. We heard Chris Fagan pre-game say they know the Hawks want to possess the ball. They've got to put pressure on them. They did that.
Yeah, they like to mark the ball as well to get themselves out of trouble, and they're awake and aware to it. It's always a good sign when you're on the road and get a turnover like this inside forward 50 early.
Jasper Fletcher playing game 52. Has not missed since his debut. From about 48 metres out. Just drifts across the face.
Back on the wing last week, being half-back so far this year. Coleman back out of the team though today, as we've heard, being managed, so I think he'll probably sit back at half-back. Jasper Fletcher, this is well. Places it up on the wing. Answorth sensed he had to fly, but he couldn't stop Hardwick.
Played the man in front.
No, he has played the man in front. Was he in front?
The players on the ground didn't think it was Hardwick's part. They all started running Brisbane side.
I'm not sure he had that much of the ball. Didn't know a lot about it. He didn't have it at all.
I think he did.
Escapes and kicks up to the 50, and Andrews left fist into it.
It looks like he's going to chop.
There we go. So that to us looks like Answorth got plenty of it.
He's got no hands on it.
He just pilfered it towards the end.
Answorth now with the job on Watson, Ward, D'Ambrosio. Had a couple of possessions early. Here comes Hardwick again. Fisted away to a dangerous area. Newcomb, aim on, good by foot Norman, just missed Ginnivan. Andrews at the back of the pack, back to Fletcher. And they exit 50 towards Dunkley. And the big frame of Barris arrives. Right on cue.
They missed opportunity going forward. He swatted him up beautifully, Eamon. They just didn't execute, which you'd expect Eamon to hit that kick every single time. So, missed opportunity, good defence from Barris there, came off his man. Just settling into things at the moment. Brisbane Lions yet to take a mark.
We know that is a feature when they get their ball movement going. Possession game. Pluggins couldn't anything meaningful for. Carrying the load again in the ruck, third game in a row. Neal cornered, but used the hands to get back to Zorko. The two of their most experienced up to the wing. Morris made a contest. Aim on. The crumbs came to him. Gaff, remembers side. It was clear. He kicks very ambitiously down the line towards Gaston. Outstanding work by Payne. Quick dish, Berry. It's gone a long way. Realised that he had to bounce it. Made a meal of it. Sits for Morrison instead. His direct opponent. Walpole posting out, Marks turns, kicks in haste. Well done, Darcy Thorpe, doing what good ruckman do, reinforcing defence, and quickly turning his eyes forward to Dunkley.
Dunkley, out of wing. The Hawks made a mess of a couple of inside 50 opportunities. We'll just go back to Dunkley, not the distance. Now Answorth, prevalent early. McCluggage, deep out in front of the Shane Warne stand. Dunkley's calling for it inboard as he's fought. McCluggage just sets it up. Sicily will come, but in front, Morris! Some good body work and a strong mark.
James Sicily, some good body work on James Sicily as well. So you watch this when we have a look at the replay. He gets engaged, Sicily, setting himself up. We see him come over the top so often, but just that there from Eric Hipwood, just backing back hard into Sicily, keeps him grounded. And then this kid is good enough to finish off. He had a big grand final, Jace. He's got a huge upside.
Yeah. Talented player. Just sort of can kick 2 or 3 and a quarter too. Gets on little bursts.
With number 16-6 for the year for the number 13. For the opener, they've had a couple of opportunities, Brisbane. And he steers it home.
It's all about taking your opportunities at the other end for the Hawks. They've had a couple of gilt-edged inside 50s that were just poor kicks. Aon had good vision, but he missed the kick to Ginnivan, and then Warple had a horrible inside 50 when he had a few options. Also, if it goes down the other end, you're going to get punished by a very talented forward line. And Logan Morris, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg with what he's going to produce for the Lions over the years. Very talented player, mobile, can take pack marks, and a very good set shot.
The meteoric rise continues. Kicked 2 goals in what was just his 4th game when he met the Hawks last year. Hawthorn prevailing in that game. And it was just pretty much the time of the year when everyone started to write the Lions off. Round 11 last year. And things changed after that. Ashcroft starting on the bench immediately gets a free kick for some high contact. And the handball was instinctive because Neil was the voice. Sends it towards Lyman.
So the bench has an impact straight away, Hutto. Ashcroft, as you said, started the bench, so did this bloke Loman.
Plays it into the pocket, trying to isolate Dunkley at a one-on-one with Battle, who had the strength and experience in those sort of contests. He does a bit of umpiring of his own there, Josh Dunkley, but he doesn't have a whistle. So he'll have a throw in. The Lions doing plenty of attacking here. They have the only 2 scores of the game thus far. Meek just paddled it down. Ward. Morris was ready to put the pressure on.
He's trying to see if anyone's with Lockie Neal at all. So Jath just goes to him here at a stoppage.
Ginnivan's long sleeve jumper lasted about 6 minutes of the game. He's gone for the short. Brisbane pressing again through Ashcroft.
Oh, a little bit of niggle, a little bit of push and shove going on out there.
Rainer.
Weddle stays down. The Pluggage Rose gets a good boot on it, just a touch to the near side.
Signalled his intentions, and then he's going to kick the other one. Out to the worn wing. For a little short, and Fort read it beautifully through the air.
Started really well.
Yes.
Darcy Fort is up for his 4th possession.
Good memories of this ground for Darcy Fort. Famously coming in for Oscar McInerney. Became a premiership player, just playing his 40th game today. Here's Harris Andrews. In the direction. Lead of Gardner. Kicked 4 goals last week. Career high easily. Oh, Scrimshaw now in. Didn't have prior according to the umpire. Neil zigging and zagging everywhere. Finally turned around and Morris was still free. What a start.
They'll be through with the start. They'll be through with the pressure they've put on inside the forward 50. What they're doing at the moment, Chase, they're staying really narrow. So when they go in, they're not really prepared to come into the middle, and which would open them up to turnover. So they stayed narrow, ball stayed over in that pocket, and that allowed them to put pressure on. So there was congestion. They got a tackle on the was it Jath or Scrimshaw who missed the ball and ended up
Scrimshaw.
Yep, in the hands of Lockie Neal, who squares it up beautifully.
So as Jason said, he can be a surge player. 3 goals, 1 last week. Just for a second. Never going to miss from there.
It shouldn't come as a surprise. Chris Fagan gave us the heads up pre-game. He said they're going to pressure the Hawks. He doesn't want them to possess the ball. There's been no easy exits from the defensive 50. The pressure has been hot. They've been forced to kick long to contests at times, and that's a beautiful score out from Lockie Neal. The class just rising to the top. And this young man, hasn't he, started well? A couple of early goals, put them on notice.
Yeah, Loman was the one who laid the tackle inside forward 50, so he gets a couple of looks early in the piece. Started really well, the Brisbane Lions here. He's kicked the only 2 goals of the game, clearly. So Scrimshaw had the job early in the piece. He's got his hands full. Looks like Battle might have rolled over onto him.
Good numbers there, contested possessions for the Lions.
So a couple early to Morris. Perfect start to the visitors. Hawks have won the last 5 when these 2 sides have met. Dominated at the MCG. Moore has a run in the middle. And to McDonald. Spiralled forward. Payne was in good position. Answorth sees it to safety.
You've seen that match-up early. Jack Gunston's gone on a couple of leagues, and Jack Payne's had the speed to run past him, or at least give him a start and then draw him level and make sure that he can't take the mark. So it's going to require all his craft today, Jack Gunston.
Given up around this ruck contest. Moore at the back. Meek gets it to the side. McKenzie. Watson, first sighting of him.
Yeah, so those matchups you talk about, right now, it does look like the Payne-Gunston one. Payne He's fully capable. And then Charles just trying to play off the ball with Harris Andrews at the moment. So he's just trying to drag him away. So that the importance of Ginnivan and Watson and Moore becomes even more so.
So that tall pairing back in the goal square or the vicinity of. While this throwing takes place, and a free kick for holding the man has been plucked out. It's going to McDonald.
Didn't see it. Everyone stopped and looked. It wasn't one of the obvious ones. They all just stopped and looked at the umpire. So must have seen something then when that ball comes in. You can see here it's Wilmot, is it?
Oh, a little bit there.
Arms around tends to be the trigger, doesn't it?
5 goals, 8 in his 8 games so far this year. Goals though the last 3 weeks. He'd like to change that.
Something they desperately needed was a straight kick to get themselves into the contest, and he's one that had such a breakout year last year, hasn't been able to rediscover that level of form yet in 2025, but he can be very dangerous. And if you take front position, you get on the move, you put the defender under pressure. There's not a lot in it, but Wilmot does wrap the arm around. The umpire sees it, you get the benefit of the free kick, but the important part is going back and converting, and he's able to do it.
The funny one is, behind you saw Connor Nash with his arms around Ashcroft. So I wonder whether Nash has got Ashcroft as a match-up as well. That'd be Will Ashcroft. Levi could get if Will doesn't, but yep, Nash is with him at the minute. We'll keep an eye on that.
McKenzie alongside McCluggage. Dunkley and Newcomb out the back. Ashcroft overruns it, has enough time to come back. Strong tackle in the middle, umpire says.
Good leap, Marby or Charles. You saw it there. Getting the hand of the ball and then trying to direct it to his mids.
Up against Hipwood in the ruck this time. Newcomb wants to scoop it out. Rayner falls to Nash. Throw.
Yeah, called it. Oh, was against Rayner maybe.
So the advantage was sort of stopped then taken. Battle does well, gets around his man. Important ball forward, turned over. Ashcroft coming back the other way, looking for the 1-2. McKenzie does well with his body. No way through for Newcomb.
Yeah, just Cam McKenzie's got to understand that you can't stand and wait for the ball to come to you. You've got to attack it when that ball's punched in your direction. Otherwise, an opponent will run past and get the intercept like we saw there.
Little rucking, as he often does as the backup. Cameron, dubious disposal. In fact, out of zone umpire says it's worthy of its run.
Watson's gone to the goal square, the deepest forward with Answorth, so Gunston and Troll up the ground.
Charlie not impressed. Weddle receives it from Newcomb, then goes back. A bit of recycling.
Inviting pressure.
Walls to Morrison. Back to Weddle, who lost about 70 metres of those transactions. Now they're going to try and make them up on the outer side. Scrimshaw's a man that can make up ground quickly with that left foot sharp enough. D'Ambrosio trying to press here, wide out on the flag. Amon with a kick into the 50. He's as good as anyone for the Hawks. Watson's deep. Answorth, a lot of work to do. Nick Watson couldn't take it. Ginnivan was thereabouts. Fletcher just jammed on the boot and hoped. Well, unfortunately for him, as so often happens when we see those rush kicks, there's an opposition player ready and waiting, and this is Weddle.
We really looked to give it off. What was really impressive about the build-up is we spoke about they want to possess the ball. Brisbane weren't allowing them. They had to do it the hard way, going backwards and right around to create some uncontested possession.
Watson just involved with a bit of a scuffle as he was coming off the ground. That was the crowd.
5 goals, 3. We've seen him all over the ground this season. He looked a bit hesitant initially, but he's put that through. Arms in the air to celebrate the Hawks second.
So settled nicely, the Hawks gave up the first 2 goals, but they got themselves back into it. That's just a horrible kick from Fletcher. If you're on the last line and you're under some pressure, you can't just hack the ball back into the middle of the ground because they're going to be set up behind the ball.
Love the fact that the man that kicks the goal was the one that started it down back, Gaz, when he just played on at random, running the wrong way, and I think everyone was confused.
Yeah, well, he's an athlete. This is running off the ground. Answorth and Watson just gets sat on his backside for
being annoying.
Well, I was going to say for no great reason, but I'm sure there's one somewhere. That's a great result for Weddle, who's now gone forward. He's got a match-up with Harris Andrews with Chol in the ruck. So
he is a talent, a serious talent.
It'll keep him occupied.
Started forward against the Suns, didn't really get much of it early, then went back. Chol with that leap that we discussed. Good ball inside to a dangerous area. Gunston hands across. across to Ginnivan, started in the long, now the short, somehow dodges, he's not getting through the second one. Got through one and then took on the second, no way through.
I wonder, it's a little bit concerned if you're the Brisbane Lions with Eric Hipwood in the ruck at the moment. He's all right at this game around the ground. Not so sure about the centre bounce stuff. 3-1 to Hawks at the moment.
Up to take it from Leicester and then across to Archie. Just lets it all wash over for a moment or two. You can see slightly pained look. Recalculates and goes straight down the line. Lineman wasn't sure that it floated. Gee, carried a long way to Morris, who almost took it at ground level, and that's a wonky kick out of the full for a moment.
And again, Chief, this is
Pressure.
the way they go forward. It's just around the boundary. They're not going into the middle of the ground at this stage. Just pretty conservative.
I just love the pressure they apply. As soon as the Hawks look like they've got possession, the Lions are harassing.
Levi Ashcroft's first kick. It's a set-up ball for Morris, but Barris had the confidence and belief to go up and just fly for the mark. No spoiling there needed as he prevails at the top of the pack.
Number 37, pretty aggressive down the line to McKenzie, shapes to go and does. Something on the outer wing, happy to take on. Ashcroft with a bounce, run down. A little ambitious, and Ashcroft did well to pull him back in, did well.
Yes, that is ambition, getting the load. What's the reality right there? Trying to take the game on though, early in the piece of Hawks.
Well, the youngster of the two, Levi. And the turquoise boots, his brother have the same pair on.
Rather take it on than not, Chief, early in the game.
Yeah, agreed, but you just need to understand your own capabilities too.
Looks for Dunkley. Amon provides the fist, but Dunkley marks second time. Harris has got Morris has already kicked two. It's down in that area now. Jath, best position, fists. Ashcroft, he's got his brother. Tight on the line, Neil.
Yeah, they go long, and Brass is as good a chance as anyone once they get it up high in the air. So again, we're over on this side of the ground here. They've only taken 8 uncontested marks, Brisbane, so Hawthorn will be pretty happy with that. They haven't been opened up in any way, shape or form, but it is just stuck over on the other side at the moment.
Newcombe with a shrug, and even though he played a part, he's deemed to have been taken too high.
Looking to switch, but the Lions are very quickly onto it. They have got players lateral, stopping them, making them go long up the line.
I think both sides are very aware of what each other wants to do here, and they're defending well.
Quite a bit of hesitation and when to release, and the result Gardner comes to Charlie Cameron. He's had a lean spell for much of the year. Drops short, top of the goal square, and Battle was able to work Dunkley over. And the dodge one there, Jath comes away. Slightly off the instep, it gave Fletcher a flight, a chance to mark. Well in the ground battle with Berry.
Charlie be disappointed. They closed them down. Jason called it beautifully. Every exit they looked at was shut down, and then Newcombe hacks the kick, and Charlie should have made him pay.
Morris was a toe poke away from the third. Ashcroft up in the air. Neil retains possession. Gives it back to Ashcroft. Will. The Hawks try and push it forward through Ward. Newcombe pulls it back into the pack. D'Ambrosio wants the hand pass out. There's been a +5 and inside 50s.
Already, we're only halfway through the first quarter, a bit more. We've seen Weddle start down back, get posted forward. Now he's in the ruck.
Against Hipwood. Does pretty well too. Bailey creates a little bit of space with a feint. Fletcher. Now Zorko, still going strong. Right on the line.
It's a great kick. He was a willing competitor last week, Gardner. Really presented well.
Plays on. Drags it into the pocket. Battle will come from behind. Front centre Berry. Shrugs one tackle. Centering ball is dangerous. The Hawks have got numbers. McKenzie's a late arrival.
I think when you see these games, normally when you get possession and you're going forward, you're seeing holes open up everywhere, Jason. You can hit someone up. I think defensively, these two teams are so good at the moment, so switched on. There's just nothing free to shoot at.
Hawks winning the clearances late, but they find themselves pinned in the back pocket. Amon trying to change the narrative over the back was Child. We could do with spoil, but to good effect. McDonald's floating handball, so Harper had to wait and try and organise what was coming next. And the crew are ready to run. Moore takes the mark in front of Answorth. No stopping him. Ginnivan was charging inside, so he does actually alter his route and kick it deep now to Ginnivan, who tries to jump over the top of Lester, who's used to combat against much larger opponents, so that was not a problem. Off to Neil, full body kick to Archie to make sure he was able to reach his teammate and left half back.
Yeah, well, that was the only free man that they could go to, Hutton. It took an outstanding kick. Now they've gone through the middle. First time for the game.
Lashcroft centre half back, splits it over the head of Chol to Fletcher. Funny little toe poke to Levi, back to Fletcher. And the Blondes combining on the outer side. Move it on to another one in Loman. Restricted to get a free kick for Hyde. Game of strategy early. Need to kick a goal this season, Kyle Loman. Now Answorth kicks straight to Newcomb, man on the mark, tries to step around him.
He's had just 24 disposals in total and 2 behind. Kyle Loman, multiple false starts to his season. Let's hope he can get going now, get some consistency. Subbed off in 4 of his 5 games, mainly due to injury. Last week it was tactical as the Demons overran them. Now off Ashcroft, the instant kick. Inside 50, Charlie Cameron is teasing Sicily, turning on the left to the square, went on to the run and a rise, but Archie was able to take it cleanly.
Yeah, it's a good mark. It's a superior judgment. I'm not sure the matchup you're looking for is Sicily on Charlie Cameron.
No, well,
He's just too fleet of foot. Too fleet of
It
foot.
was great, but there's no excuse for Weddle. We just sung his praises here. As this ball sat in the air, he just looked at it and said he's either going to kill or take mark of the day. Flew right underneath it. No excuse.
13-11 in 10 games, Cal Archie. It was one of the great stories of last year for the Lions in their premiership triumph. And did it here at the MCG too. 4 goals in the grand final, 3 in the preliminary. But he kicks it behind just there.
All out one side here, the Hawks.
Thinks that's the direction Amon goes. There's a whistle somewhere behind play. Another one.
An unbelievable low number of D50 to inside 50 for both sides. So this is the defensive nature of both teams winning out here.
To Zorko from Andrews. Sends it deep. Hawthorn have got the numbers back there and just battle cruising across, covering everything.
No, they've both exited, almost 15 times each and gone inside 50 once, Jay. So sort of speaks to what we were talking about. They're covering off so well when the ball gets turned over in their half that it doesn't go the length.
So how can you break it up if you're an attacking option against these tight defences?
Well, I think you stick to what you know, stick to your game plan, and you've got to be patient. Sometimes games are just going to be arm wrestles, Howie. This has got this shapes up as a real arm wrestle, and you wait for something to break open.
Ashcroft to McCluggage, stabs it to Loman, still not quite coming together for him. Scrimshaw handled it well via Sicily and back to Conor McDonald, but he can't really move it yet. Had to weigh well, provided the perfect recipe. Through the middle they run. Jath with a bounce, a steady, aimed up Watson, and he takes the mark, and that's how you get it from one end to the other.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about, and it hasn't been happening. So for the first time, it opened up through the middle of the ground. So they possessed the ball, they found a free in the middle, and then they took off, and that will give them the encouragement to get on. This is Nick Watson's first possession for the game, so he needs some speed on the ball to get involved.
It was fantastic last week early, particularly in Darwin. Kicked 3 goals, 17-8 for the season. From 40 he's got right under that. And holds. Notable leaps. The most spectacular came from Hardwick, who thought he was interfered with.
Wasn't great contact off the boot, was it?
No.
Struggled to make the distance. I thought it was just about his best game for the club last week, in particular his first half. He was the reason they stayed in the game.
Turnover out of defence. They went very short.
Oh, he apologises, Dane Zorko.
15-15. Hardwick was aware.
Well, we talked pre-game about the fact that they haven't protected the ball out of the defensive half very well. We saw the first goal as a hat kick by Fletcher on the last line, and defence under pressure ends up, Weddle goes back. Well, that was the second goal. And now you get a fullback kick in, just handing the ball over 25 metres out, almost directly in front.
Even immediately pointing out the error to Zorko. So Hardwick alternates between forward and back. From directly in front, they gave up the first two. The Hawks have replied with the next three.
They gave up 41 points from defensive half turnovers last week against Melbourne. That's their 9th worst result in 5 years. And it is looming again, Jace, as another issue for them this afternoon.
Well, I mean, we expect Dane's all going to take some risks. He's one of the designated ball users, and he's trying to force it down the corridor. Probably just didn't need to pull the trigger on that one, but he's going to hit a lot of kicks that will open up the ground for them. You excuse him one, but you wouldn't want him to be a repeat offender.
And as you referenced, how I reckon the last bloke you've got to see in your face after you've just kicked it to the opposition to cause a goal is Jack Ginnivan.
It's just making sure they were aware.
Yeah.
I don't reckon Dane's missed out over the journey.
No, that's a fair call. Hawks have the edge of the centre clearances so far, and they lead by 4 on the scoreboard. Ashcroft just nudges it forward. Amon's spoil wasn't with much conviction, so the Ashcrofts go together and get it to the outside. McCluggage into the pocket, searching ball, home and left. Archie got both hands wrapped around it. Walks into their handball game with Scrimshaw, and then the kick from Barris. Great lunge, McKenzie wins it back and wins it well. Launch off half-back. Hawthorn, who got the 10 coaches' votes last time against the Lions. Gunston put the brakes on just so they could form up ahead. McDonald's kept on running. Suddenly the Hawks have discovered this ball movement out of the back half, and it ends once again in Hardwick, who rolls quickly from outside 50. Moore's in the square. It's going to carry him, and renowned defender Charlie Cameron scores it over the boundary line.
Great, that is great ball movement. McKenzie was the one that got it started in the back half and ran on really hard too. He could have been used again on the way through. So the last 4 or 5 minutes just opened up a little bit.
So the Hawks have kicked the last 3, tightening up the inside 50 battle. Deep in the term. Watch out for the smalls. Meek.
So this is where the Hawks want to build pressure. You want repeat stoppages. You don't want any easy outlet kicks for the Lions. They've pressed right up.
25 on the clock. They can't afford to give away a free kick. Hawthorn have got plenty inside 50 this year. Crocus holds on to it long enough. So an enterprising opening term. Brisbane kicked the first through, 2 from Morris. Then McDonald, Weddle and Hardwick replied right out in the middle amongst the action at the MCG. Hawthorn lead at a quarter time. 3-1-19 to Brisbane. 2-3-15 by 4 points.
And g'day folks, welcome in. Of course, we got the big match here today. Of course, Hawthorn taking on the Brisbane Lions here at the MCG. Quarter time, folks, quarter time. 3-1-19 the Hawks, 2-3-15 the Brisbane Lions. I tell you what, the Brisbane Lions came out strong, kicking the first couple. But wowee, the Hawks, they got their skates on. They got started rolling. And they had all the momentum the second half of that opening term. They looked good. They look good. I tell you what, this is going to be a cracking game. I think both teams are out here to play, out here to win. They both brought their A game so far that I've seen here. Of course, Brisbane looking to have a win. Hawthorn looking to have a win. It means Hawthorn will go up to equal second on the ladder. Brisbane Lions, if they win, they'll go top of the table if they win. So it's a big game for both teams. Just want to welcome in, totally not sure, Tine, welcome in, Adrian Sports Channel. Hey, how you doing? Great to have you all aboard. What a fantastic game. So let's just have a little bit of a look at the lineups, because we didn't get there. For Hawthorn, coming in with Jack Gunston, Lloyd Meek, Connor Nash. Good to see Jack Gunston back in the team. Going out, Reeves, McDonald, Deere going out. Finn McGuinness is the sub there for Hawthorn, while for the Brisbane Lions, Jared Berry, Devon Robinson coming in, going out. Coleman McKenna. Devon Robinson is the sub. There is your team lineup for both teams there today. There we go. I'll stick that up. And if people watch that on the replay, they can pause it and check out the teams. All right, let's go and have a quick look at the goal scorers and the team and the player stats for the opening term. Logan Morris kicked the first 2 goals of the quarter for the Brisbane Lions. He's the only multiple out there at the moment and the only goal scorer there for the Brisbane Lions. Of course, We've got singles for Hawthorn, Josh Weddle, McDonald, and Blake Hardwick. 5 goals kicked in the opening term. The ball magnet, of course, in the opening term, Will Ashcroft, tops the table with 10 disposals, 4 kicks, 6 handballs, a mark, and 3 clearances. Lockie Neal doing well. Some precision kicking from Lockie Neal. 8 touches for him. For the Hawks, Carl Lamont tops the table for them with 8. And, of course, Josh Battle there was 7. Dane Zorko working hard down back there for the Lions on 6. Hugh McCluggage, don't forget your luggage. He's got 6. Giath is on 6 also for the Hawks. Weddle coming into a bit of the game there, 5 touches. He kicked a goal there, nice one there for the Hawks. Let's just quickly roll down. We'll have a little bit of a look, and then we're going to head back because the bounce of the ball for the second quarter is just about on us again. They only have the 5-minute break in between quarters, of course, a little bit longer at halftime, 20-minute break at halftime. Charlie Cameron, tell you what, he needs to get into the game today for the Brisbane Lions. Maybe stick him up around the ball, up midfield, if he can't get much of a touch. He's had 3 touches only, 3 kicks and a clearance as Charlie, so I'll be looking for a big game from him. Same with Cam Rayner, who always starts really slow. Cheese started the game off reasonably good. Mo Cholt there, just the 2 touches. And Nick Watson, just the Wizard, 1 kick and 1 mark. Had a shot on goal, but fell short. So that is your player stats up until quarter time. Hey, folks, we're in for a cracking game. Are you just watching the game at home? Adrian's going to watch the Fremantle game. There we go. We'll wish him all the best. Go Freo, of course. Where are we? My gosh. Who do Fremantle play? They play Port Adelaide later on. Should be a cracking game. Of course, if you want to watch the Fremantle, listen in or check out the scoreboard, the Fremantle Port Adelaide game. I think Adrian's Sports Channel will cover that. I'm not sure what game board will be covering. I'll be covering the North Melbourne Collingwood game. Go Pies. But there we go. All right, folks, that's enough of me talking up until quarter time. Let's get back down to the ground. We're only a minute away, 48 seconds before they're going to bounce the ball for the second quarter, where it's the Hawks by 4 points.
Off and take a tackle through or kick it out to the boundary, and then, as Jason's alluded to, that's just a mistake from Dave Torco, who doesn't make too many, and you don't expect that. But 41 points last week against Hawthorn, against Melbourne, they turned it over a lot, Jason. That just puts a little bit of doubt in their mind.
Yeah, great pressure at both ends from the forward setup. So in the D50, both defences have struggled to exit cleanly. They've been under the pump, had to make quick decisions. And what it's resulted in, and we've only seen it a couple of times, when the Hawks were able to get speed on the ball, they opened the ground up. But when they didn't, it was hard to transition from one end to the other. And both teams are scoring okay once they get it inside 50. They're just not high numbers inside 50 at the moment.
No, they weren't. So transitioning, it's a trendy word for going from one end of the ground to the other, and it's been really hard work. And I think we love the games when it does flow, but this is just an arm wrestle here.
Given the clearances are basically level, it's fascinating that difference in contested possession. Is it 40 to 23?
Yeah, well, you take it. There's no question about that. But from a scoreboard point of view, they're behind. They're behind, yeah.
Brisbane come in 7-2, the Hawks 7-3. Hawthorn 4 points to the good at quarter time after giving up the first 2 majors, finishing with the next 3 of the term. Meek and Fort did well in the first term, and it was Newcomb back to Big Lloyd himself. Long ball forward, Payne in best position. Too strong. Gunston's disappointed he couldn't bring it to a ground ball situation.
He's all over Jack Gunston at the moment. Payne, he's got most of his physical attributes covered.
It's been a short from Zorko. Bailey accessing the middle of the MCG through Archie. Away again now. Bailey sprinting forward. Hawks have got numbers. Scrimshaw in best position. Can't take the mark. He's got support. Newcomb overruns it though. Morris opening 2 goals of the match. Bailey got one high and got the call.
It's an instructional exit out of their back half there from the Brisbane Lions. Quick pass through the middle, hand on and get it moving.
In his 8th season, Premiership player Bailey to the outer side of the ground.
So John Newcomb just the 3 possessions. So there's the free kick for high contact. So he's so important to what they do around the ground, and just not really had an impact just yet.
And Walker only 4, Gaz. So Two of those hard nuts inside. Not getting their hands on the footy so much yet. Mick with the tap and the follow. Not to lay it off. McCluggett's dangerous. Maybe legged. Hit good with a handball. Again, Bailey looks for it and draws high contact.
Well, we've seen it time and time again. You've got to get low when you're tackling the defensive 50 because players...
The Hawks should know.
Yeah, well, they're good at doing this. They're good at drawing these free kicks. So you've got to practice to prevent them as well. You've got to get so low. You'll see Bailey, he drops the knees, he goes in low, but you've just got to make sure you get those arms right down around the hips.
It's the only Lions player to get coaches' votes last week. 17 goals, 12. Been damaging for most of the season so far, Zach Bailey. We know he loves the MCG. As he's done it on Grand Final Day.
That couldn't be a Hawthorn fan in good conscience doing that decision, surely. They could not possibly do that. I don't like it. I don't like the free kick. I understand it's there. I understand you've got to get low. I understand all that.
So here's the first one.
That one's there, the arms over the shoulder.
That's not a problem. But it's just good work from McCluggett. Just driving his legs through here. I don't like it. So I can understand the free kick being there. But fair enough. He'll take it. He'll take it, Zach Bailey. I hope it doesn't see the precedent that we just see players leading with their heads in an attempt to get a free kick. But they are paid, we know that.
Cluggage, Warple, Nash alongside Neil, who got a shove and will get a free kick. Shove fair in the back of the contest. Neil, the Brownlow medalist. The overlap to Zorko. Deep ball forward, battling good position in the air. Falls to a dangerous spot. Scripshaw. Got some good dash out of defence and a brilliant ball to McDonald who waited, hit him well. Andrews was it late or hit the umpire? No, it was all okay. Big Nash is not happy with the contact.
No, I think he got there in time. He got there as the mark was being taken. You're entitled to try and spoil. He did it in a vigorous fashion. The fist was going to the ball and the elbow just happened to clip the ear.
I'll turn it over here. Just see the replay check there.
Old-fashioned defending.
Lyman, McCluggage, so the Hawks turn her over in a dangerous area. Forward towards Cameron, stepping, can't get away from Weddle. Bailey again, shrugs one, just kick one, round the corner from Bailey this time. Not as much success.
The 50 metre that wasn't played there, I mean, come on. So he's taken the mark, and he's got the
genuine attempt to spoil.
Genuine attempt to clip him on the
We'll go again, Jason.
That's old-fashioned defending.
On the left, Amon rushes the kick up to the wing. Payne spoiling effectively, more underneath. Harvick had to look one way and then decided to go back to McKenzie. Bit of jogging on the spot till the time was right to go forward. Still some hesitation from Harvick. Child is behind here, and Andrews going to get booed now for the rest of the afternoon.
That's the reason they couldn't go forward. Andrews had boundary side positioning on Child.
So Marpio's going to read that early, Gas.
He does. Yeah, he does. And that's the thing about with Andrews is kick it at him rather than away from him because he reads the ball so well.
Lions by 2. Now can they get into their possession game? Take a bit of territory while doing it. They can with that kick to Leicester, to Neil. Had a runner outside, went short to Bailey. Just waited a beat and then kicks for Ashcroft. That allowed Scrimshaw in, but still they move it. Leicester with a dribbler, straight to Meek, off to McKenzie, about to be tackled by Leicester. So he handballed quickly. Oh, it's getting rough, it's getting tough. And we love it on the wing on the outer side.
Great contest going on out here. There is, I know the scoreboard will suggest it's not high scoring and free flowing, but it's a genuine contest.
Turns over McKenzie, kicked straight to Wilmot, who was on his toes, now to Cameron, slicing it open. The other way, Archie in good position, battles in a difficult area, he gave away free.
Well played, Archie.
Played it really well.
Yeah, he did, because I think he summed up that Josh Battle was coming back and had some size on him. If Battle was able to turn his body...
He turned to look at the ball, but then turned back to the player, and that's what gave the free kick away.
Well, that's when Archie decides to jump into it. Because I think at that stage he thought, I'm outsized there. I might have to try and draw one.
And we had a bad miss in the first quarter. Callum Archie, you wouldn't expect him to miss this one. Such a quality player.
Another opportunity for a free kick goal for the Lions. Bailey with the only one from the term. Hawks by 4 at quarter times. Take Brisbane out to it. 8-point margin. Archie after an early miss. Second opportunity. Spot on.
Again, there's a few boos from Hawks fans, but the free kick's there's no problem at all. I just love Kalamachi as a player, what he's been able to turn himself into, playing in that forward role. He can do lockdowns, he hits the scoreboard, he runs up and down the ground, he'll work back defensively as well, and very good in the air for his size.
He got a hand on it then, Josh Battle. He just got a little fingernail on it.
The trouble is, though, Gaz, as soon as the umpire sees you turn your eyes off the footy, they pay it.
I understand
whether
that.
that's right or wrong.
The footy hadn't arrived though, James.
But he did make front-on contact, and I guess but he did get a fingernail to it, so you can argue the case. Anyway, it's just opening up a little bit. 18-11 inside 50, so it's just starting, the territory battle starting to go one way, and I reckon Brisbane much more urgency in this second quarter.
Keep reaching over. Warple still couldn't get clean hands through it. Ward sneaks in, gives it back to Warple. To centre half forward they come. Hardwick will some contact. Get it to where he should be, but so too Ashcroft. Even things up, and now the scrap grows. The wild fist to Leicester. Got the little knock a few minutes ago, but he looks fine. He kicks back to the southern wing. Weddle has it contained. To Morrison. Couldn't go forward immediately. Scrimshaw, Loman. He's charging right at him. Yeah, they have to buy a little more time and space. That'll help to provide that to Morrison, and we'll look to switch, and there is a framework to do so.
It's a bit of space that Hawthorn need here. The closing pressure of Brisbane's been elite in this second quarter.
Giath provides an opportunity for the Lions, and they take it over the top of D'Ambrosio. The turnover comes through Neil to the man that affected the spoil, Berry.
It's outstanding from Berry. He's the one that made the ground to make the spoil, and as soon as he saw they got an outnumber, he got on his bike and presented it as a forward up, as a target up the ground.
Loman trying to engage Barris, who comes with the big fist. You said earlier on that the Hawks should kick the ball towards Andrew rather than away from him. What do you mean?
Well, just on that last one where he intercepted, he reads the ball so well in the air that clubs think they can go around him. But when the ball's in there, that's when he does his damage. Last week, Melbourne tended to kick at him and then just needed Melksham to really compete, and he did, and got away with it.
Preston by his side at the moment. Gardner doing the right work against me. That size, obviously, D'Ambrosio, just a scrounge ball. Walker with the tidying up. He took pretty unscientific to it. 2 on 1 against Payne and Andrews. Usually a great combination to win the footy back. Joel had other ideas. That's what he can do for a big man. It jolts out of Hardwick's hand, so plenty of would-be umpires either side in the crowd, screaming and yelling and enjoying their afternoon at the footy. Berry unmanned, so he can gain 30 metres with a run, and then an ill-directed kick into the 50 where Billy had to move, but he does now.
The athletic one plays on with a booming 65-metre drop puck.
They're out here if they want to go.
On to McDonald. Now Ward slides it forward, and that is good football by the Hawks to watch it. Probably on his distance.
High alert. If you're a Brisbane Lions defender, high alert here. Has he got it in him, Jace?
No, I don't think so, but they're not offering many options. D'Ambrosio's pushed forward, but didn't give him many options. There's one in the pocket. Dylan Moore, I think it is pushed forward.
He's still sitting there. So he hadn't got to it. Now he pushed it back.
Brian Myers the other night when he shaped about this point and got a little pass off. Watson looks like he's going to drive it towards home, though, going for extra distance, hangs it out to the side.
It's their best passage, one of their best transitions. So it opened up for them once they were able to get it through the middle, and it's that sort of game here. As we said, hold your nerve, wait for an opening, and then you've got to be good enough to take it. They were good enough to that right up until the shot at goal.
Lions with the only 2 goals of the quarter. Sorko ran his full measure and then some. Targets Gardner out there, battle.
They give a lot of leeway, Hutto, in that, don't they? You see it every week. There are players that play on from the kick out, and they run a good 20 metres before they kick the footy.
Yep. I think it's almost unspoken, isn't it?
Yeah.
We want the ball to get out of there, so we'll let you really push the boundary, so to speak. So there's the ground ball differential. It's +10 for Brisbane. And the footy's in open space, and they contest, and Morrison win ones underneath. Just toes the ball out. Ashcroft gets it back to safety, the boundary line.
I think their pressure's been enormous this quarter. Their willingness to get across to Hawthorn whenever they're in possession, take away their space, not allow them to spot up kicks that open the ground up. It's been terrific.
Problem the Hawks got at the moment, you look at the disposals, they're all the Brisbane midfielders, and the top winners for Hawthorn are the defenders.
Nick Pokes. Newcomb does win it in tight. Out to Morrison and then to Warple. Because the build-up continues. McDonald gave an offering. Joel is the deepest and the tallest. Watson in the pocket is where the kick was really shaped and designed for. The fist comes away. Now Ward's got issues on how to release it to get it to Ward. Pull stripped of it immediately. Fletcher came through. Rayner gives him a path out. Bailey was able to fend and now just slaps it forward. Hawks should have the numbers, and they do. And the experience as well in backs.
Immediately splits it out to the Ward stand side to Ward. You can forward disposals. Walk was 7 for the Hawks, typically the prime movers. Weddle slides it into the pocket to Chol on a good lead. And well, he stopped because he thought the mark had been claimed. It just rolled out of the arms and across the line.
They have another look. He seems to be dumbfounded, but most forwards are, but they don't get a mark played with them. Fair enough, Jason.
Could have gone either way.
Meek. Looks like he got 2 goals for the term. Neil. Berry. Tries to clear his zone any way he can. Sicily in good position. Just right over the top of James Sicily.
Just 2 disposals so far.
Yeah.
James Sicily.
Yeah, no, he hasn't had any impact whatsoever. It's been rolled over to Morris and kicked those first 2 goals of the game, so he might be just determined to do a job there.
He's sticking with the long sleeves, Howie, not giving up like Gifford did.
And that might be a bad idea, just giving him a job to do if he can shut down Morris, get his confidence up.
Yeah, well, it's the back half that's holding them together at the moment,
Yeah.
the Hawks.
It does feel that way, doesn't it? Meek had it again. Warple stood up well, so he could direct it back to Amon. Quickly inside. Payne tentatively reached back for it, but he did wonderfully well to win it. Good service for Ainsworth. Bailey came to engage Morrison at just the right time. Had the good back up the Hawks, though. Newcombe out wide. Weddle up against the boundary. High ball, but a very wide one.
Yeah, well, that's not the playbook, I wouldn't have thought. It needed to come to the top of the square. I think you went the hero play there.
A little bit of play down in their forward half, though. They're starting to get a little bit of territory. It's can they get that kick inside 50 that gives them quality shots at goal, closer than the long-range shots they've been taking.
20-metre ball to Fletcher. He progresses it out of defensive 50. The couple of Hawks in the contest. Hardwick. Leicester does well. Scooped out to Giath. Delays it to Brosio. He goes inside 50. That is a wonderful inside 50 entry. And he hits McDonald.
This game is so much about having the right players take the important possessions. D'Ambrosio is one of the best kicks. And that's the kick inside 50. Everything all the shots they've been taking have been from out around the 50-metre arc. Now they get a beautiful dart into that 35 to 40 metres out in the corridor. Great opportunity for McDonald to kick his second.
It's an awesome look at D'Ambrosio's left leg.
Just 5 goals before today this season. McDonald, he's kicked 1. Knocks through his second. And then the battle continues.
And it's a battle, and you just got to be prepared to fight it out. Might stay this way until late into the last quarter, because they look to be both pretty evenly matched and both working hard defensively. That's going to take some moments of brilliance, and don't make no mistake, not many players are able to make this kick. That is just a moment of brilliance right there. So every now and then you'll see one of those pop up, whether it's from a Zorko or D'Ambrosio or Ashcroft or one of those boys. But you're going to need it today because it's hard work. And you love it, and you love the fact that it is hard work. 8 inside 50 to 3 in the last 10 minutes is a good result for the Hawks. They've got to work again.
Back on the goal kickers list today with 2. Connor McDonald. That's knocked him over, basically. It was so fierce, right at the chest. Joel Rucky against Hipwood, who followed up impressively. So now there's Morris, there's Gardner, and there's a host of Hawks. Cameron tried to put the pressure on Sicily, but Battle knew how to run. The exit was a bit of a flopped handball over the top to Morrison behind Battle, so it's not perfect, but unimpeded so far. Ward and Battle for a 3rd time gets involved. Getting a bit of handball happy, the Hawks. They might be handball unhappy now because they've turned it over. Ashcroft back at you with multiple handballs. Gets a full line and tries to kick. What a tackle from Warple. Advantage paid, and they're able to come away. Jack targets Ginnivan out here on the members' wing, who's just teasing and showing him the footy, and brings it back to D'Ambrosio.
Set up by the Warple tackle.
Outstanding, James Hawthorn. Just waiting for the break in play to get back and praise him. They're on here, the Hawks.
Again off the left boot of D'Ambrosio, set up the last. Ward pokes it forward to McDonald. He's got a couple. Waits and waits and waits. Then comes back into Ward. He's got space in front of him. Elects to chip forward to Gunston, who's been really sighted, but marks about 40 out. Good build-up.
This is coming from the back half. So their back half has been fantastic all day, but now they're starting to get run and drive and carry. And we have a look at Charlie Cameron here. If Jack Gunston's good enough to kick the goal, wasn't that interested in competing the chase down like Warple was at the other end.
Kicked 3+ in each of his last 5 games. First time he's done that in his career at 33 years of age. Gunston rolls in behind it. Just drifts to the side.
They don't get the reward, but one of the things you have to like about that build-up is whilst they went quick early, it was then measured going inside 50. They waited until the right option opened up. They actually just treaded a little bit of water outside 50.
So we're back where we started. Scores level. Wilmot short into the pocket. Barry.
Close the exits. Uncontested marks are at 31 from Brisbane, which is a low number for this football club that like to move the ball by foot.
So they've had a couple, but only really 20-25 metres at best. Here's the switch, but again, the Hawks can see where it's going next. So it takes Zorko with a powerful calculated kick to break things open a little bit to Archie.
Set up okay though.
Yeah, they are well protected. Now it's Bailey's turn in a one-on-one duel. He tried to push off D'Ambrosio, wouldn't be denied. Back on his feet, draws the acclaim from the Hawks fan. Newcomb was happy to wear it, not once but twice. In the rough and tumble, it's Nash now on return. After a 4-week self-induced break after that incident with Brian Myers on Easter Monday. Had a bit of muscle. And we'll have another baller.
Own the footy, the Hawks here, last 10 minutes.
Led by 4 at quarter time. Brisbane kicked the opening 2 in a tight affair. All square, 4-3 apiece. Brisbane through Dunkley. CJ lost his man. Goes inside the number 1. There was a couple that could have ruffled it. Loman chose Archie, who was ever at his own.
Well, I think they were trying to cover for one another. I think he caught it really well. The James Sicily got caught up the ground, and all of a sudden there were Brisbane line players darting back into holes everywhere, and you can find Brass peels off his man to try and cover for Sicily. You can just see that in the background there. And then that means they open up in the middle of the ground.
Kick one, miss one, Archie. 89 career goals from directly in front. And Brisbane retake the lead.
Been an entertaining first half, opportunities at both ends. It's just a matter of using the ball correctly. On that occasion, I love the work just up on the wing when it looked like the Hawks were going to create a turnover, but there was some really good pressure. It was the guard and the tackle that just held the ball up, forced the stoppage. Then they're able to win it and go forward. Jack loses his man, and then Loman has all the time in the world. You can just see Barris dropped off because Logan Morris was sprinting back towards goal. He says, oh, I've got to cover him. He's the dangerous player, but in the end, no one picked up Archie.
Well, in the end, he wasn't. That's just all about decision making under pressure. Brass went to the least dangerous.
But if Barris goes to Archie, then he probably kicks into the goal square.
Yeah, it was Sicily the one that was dragging his tail a bit, who was trying to cover someone else. So anyway, they were clean and clinical enough to get the job done, the Lions.
They are back in front. Meek with the tap through Nash's fingertips. Dunkley got the handle in the nick of time. Ashcroft in there, so all the mids got a piece of it for the Lions, deep towards Cameron. He's going to be outsized in a marking contest, but he doesn't give in. He could have drawn the free kick there. Just aimed a fraction. Quick kick, Amon down the line. Ginnivan did well, worked hard, got to the spot. Amon keeps on trotting past. Utilised now to Morrison. Still runners there, and Jath just hesitating to make the right call. Riddle, handball to Newcomb. Came to a bit of a standstill. Nash. Oh, Sicily goes down off hip hook, and it's going to be a free kick coming back to the Hawks.
That's lucky.
Anderson up by Portland, I think.
They'll save the Hawks because the pressure that the Brisbane Lions brought then turned the footy over. It was just this high bump here that saved them.
Sicily goes to the outer side. What do you think, Gary?
I think back in the day, 3,000 of them, Harry, that would have been let roll on. But he was deemed to have been hit in the head. That's fair enough.
Oh, Justin Nash. Pushed as he kicked and works out though. McDonald's already got a couple from range. McDonald in good goal-kicking form has 3. And the Hawks immediately respond.
Picked a good day to play his best game of the year, Connor McDonald. They banded him up forward. He's the one that's hitting the scoreboard. Thought Connor Nash had got himself in trouble when he played on. It all started with this turnover when it looked like they had a goal coming. That didn't look like a bad bump to me. He got him in the chest, and players are good at drawing him. And here's where Nash plays on. You think he's going to get collared. The kick just creeps over the intercept, and then McDonald, good enough to finish on the run, kicks his 3rd.
So the doctor out with James Sisley on the ground after that, but he's staying out there, so he's obviously been ticked off.
I think he's going to get a clean bill of health, having had a look at the bump again.
It's a fascinating game, though.
It is. I love it. It's just such a contest.
Fought the tap and the follow. Gath drilling it out with Rayner. So great dexterity and spring. Morrison to Newcomb, starting to spread a bit more here, the Hawks. Tucks the kick back into the middle, ambitiously to Nash. Knocked away by 4 with direction and skill, and Gardner hit it hard. Plays it back. Zorko fooled them once. Punky little ball to centre half forward was excellent. This is a man that needs to get into the game for the Lions. Lyman just skids it beautifully to the square. Go ahead, Charlie. And the Lions are back in front.
Good love his time again, John Newcomb. That was an aggressive kick into the corridor looking for Nash that turned it over. And then they were in all sorts.
That's why they need Loman. That's Hutto's call, to get Loman involved, because he has got this ability to break it open a bit. He's just off his tucker a bit, Newcomb. He's had such a great year, great couple of years. Was sensational last year, but just right now he's not having his best moment. You're going to hang it up like that, you're going to be in trouble. And then the finish from eventually in the hands of Loman. It's a great decision to come back inside to hit Charlie in the goal square.
Sisley went for the Nick Reebok grand final tackle. Couldn't quite pull it off.
Just couldn't strip the ball.
Didn't quite come up like a librarian.
No. Better than us. Neil drives it deep out of the middle. Straight to Scrimshaw. Looks to the middle. It's a long searching ball to Ginnivan on the lead. Overruns it. Hard whip. Uses the body as he typically does. Back to the Brownlow medalist Neil. He's got Zorko with runners ahead. Deep ball forward. Scrimshaw in front position. Hawks have got 3 markers. It comes to the bottom. Charlie rolls in for 2 in the space of a minute and starts celebrating as the Doug Nichols round.
So Dave Zorko's the one that's just starting to have a real impact now. So his work off halfback's always dangerous, but he's put inside 50 twice for the quarter. He's had 11 possessions and just starting to have a big impact on what's going on around the ground. They're getting some easier looks when they go inside 50.
It's a little Harley from Charlie. They didn't see that phrase. Yeah, there we go.
Just a little Sir Doug Nichols Harley special.
Okay.
Don't underestimate some of that ball control from Charlie then as well. It wasn't absolutely pure and clear and clean for him, but he had to have some good ball control to maintain possession there.
Arch Eagle again at the back of the pack, just the quick hands to get the ball going in Charlie's direction.
He's had a tough year in terms of goals, Charlie Cameron. 8-15 coming in today. He's put a couple up today, and that's what the Lions lead by. Meek trying to change that, wiped out immediately. More hard yakker out of the middle from McCluggage. There's a free kick, no advantage taken. Goes back to Dunkley. And lefty, that centre half forward to slide from Rayner. Very nearly the mark to go with it. Under pressure is Nash. Jars clear again from Jack. Hit brought to the out. Oh, he couldn't get 3 in a row, could he, Charlie? This is Charlie Cameron we're talking about.
In the blink of an eye, he's kicked 3 in a row, and that's the margin right there. 18 points. So absolutely sensational. As Hutto said, he's had a lean stretch at some stages throughout the course of the year. But he's just hit a little purple patch here. And this is a class finish. That's it. When you go around the corner and you're going to kick it that high, you've got to absolutely flush it.
On the opposite leg too.
And
That's just quality.
He's hit that in the absolute meat.
All three of those goals, though, that have come have been the result of contests where the ball's gotten out the back. The Hawks haven't been able to kill it or knock it forward or knock it to the boundary. Ball's come over the back, kept alive, and then Charlie's got on the end of it.
You might have missed the handshake, Jason. It wasn't exactly the way you and Dermot celebrated. Pretty sharp. So 3 in a row for Cameron. All of a sudden, Brisbane out to a game high, 3-goal margin. In red time, Brisbane have gone whack, whack, whack. Hawks now need a clearance to calm things down. They don't want it back in the hands of Charlie Cameron, which is where it's heading. McCluggage sends it forward, Hipwood, Barris. Sicily will be under pressure when he takes the Sharon to battle. It's a risky ball out. Newcomb. Oh, gee, if Charlie nailed, he would have had a fourth shot. Now Giaff, so nervous moments for the Hawks. Nash sends it up in front of Watson, who hasn't been a factor as yet. McDonald, blinking for the Hawks with 3, turn it over, coming the other way though. Now Brisbane will reset. McCluggage's got Ashcroft inboard, pokes it forward to Eric.
See, they're punishing the Hawks on the turnover, aren't they?
Got 2 areas, Chief, a turnover and clearance. So clearance is this quarter, 10-5 in favour of Brisbane, 7-2 out of the middle. Gives them territory.
Centering ball, unselfish play. Hawks under pressure. Newcomb floats. Archie to Neil. Dunkley doesn't really time the snap. Scrimshaw needs to get rid of the football here. He's got an issue, Scrimshaw.
The pressure that was building early, it's just starting to take effect here. They're getting a reward for their effort, the Brisbane Lions.
Keeper Lions diehards there thought maybe the whistle might have gone their way. Meek, McCluggage kept them guessing. Wickiness of the bounce, Levi Ashcroft danced around Nash, and now the dance is one of celebration. Too hot to handle the Lions. This is premiership style football, and Sam Mitchell has a headache.
Absolutely devastating burst here. So you can argue, as a couple were, that this could have been a free kick on the goal line, but it was it didn't cost them in the end because they just went to work at a stoppage. This has been suffocating, this pressure that they've been applying here. That's smart.
I love that kick.
Yep, keep it in
back
play.
Into play, into the corridor.
When you got momentum, Jace.
Yep.
Keep the pressure on the opposition. And what about the composure of a first-year player, if you don't mind? He takes possession, sells some candy, just composes himself and bangs it straight through the middle.
Looked to be going into half-time pretty tight. All of a sudden, Brisbane through 3 with Cameron. And now Levi with his first.
I think he was enjoying the replay too there, Harry.
My word. So 4 unanswered, and Brisbane are out. Largest lead of the match. Hawks need something late. Can Walker provide it? Chol easily manoeuvred under it by Leicester.
Well, that's the one thing they can't afford is it's just an intercept mark, no contest, no ball to ground, no option to hold the ball in their attacking 50, the Hawks.
Full of confidence at the moment, the visitors, the reigning premiers. Morris puts his hands in the back of Weddle. It's the hand pass. Now Bailey. They're running in waves. One-on-one contest. Barris, Hipwood. We'll go away a free to Eric. Archie plays on, so it's either a point or 50. I think it's going to be 50.
It is.
Not simple enough. Yeah, Eric, they're under all sorts of pressure. It was a genuine 2-on-2. Archie got goal side. He just had to probably hold his ground and let the ball go over the back, and they were in all sorts of trouble, the Hawks, but just did a little bit too much.
I think he made sure the umpire saw the contact.
Yeah, I think he did.
Tom Farris.
He had no choice, did he?
No.
He was beaten all ends up if he...
And it saved James Sicily too because Archie was off to the races.
Oh, they've got a bit of work to do here, the Hawks.
7-goal quarter, Cass.
Yeah, split open, Hutto, the last 5 minutes.
High from Barris. Meek, some muscle to the equation. Leicester had it. Air shot at it. Coming through it. Archie. D'Ambrosio waiting the other way. Watson was never going to be able to get out of there. So, minute 16 remaining. Can the Hawks scrounge a goal? Cut it back to a manageable deficit of 18. Warple. McDonald's been about their only source of goals in the quarter. Even he can't get the Scored hook shot online.
Just done well to pull it back too far from there.
Yeah, the hard thing was you would have thought was trying to get it around the corner.
Fletcher reset short.
Just on a minute to go here, Howie. You'd think that they'd be
No, shut it down, the Lions.
very cognizant of this. No great risk.
Gardner looks to the benches and the line, and that's the direction in which he heads. Barris stays down. Weddle. McKenzie. Opportunity for a couple of Hawks. Weddle to Sicily.
It's hard to believe, Jason, but from a tackling point of view, and it's been one of those games, hasn't been a high tackle game, but they've laid 4 tackles for the quarter. Hawthorn, 4.
Just dropped right off from what we saw in the first term, hasn't it?
4.
Leak from position.
I'd love one more here, the Lions. Last 30 seconds. Can they get one more surge forward?
I think they would, and they'd also be pretty content just to have a stoppage after stoppage after stoppage right here.
Backs it down. There's a whistle.
Newcomb's free kick. He's on the move. He's got to get busy. He's got to have a big second half. John Newcomb for the Hawks.
Against the Lions defence and the clock here. 16 seconds to take a big back. Big, strong fist came out of there from Fort. The handball in one motion with the lead of Cameron, who's been one of the heroes of this second term. The young Lions, and a few of the more mature ones, such as Leicester, have the ability to just stave them off here and consolidate what was an outstanding quarter of football.
Was that, sorry, Hutto, was that half a footy where we just sat there and watched them go from one end to the other and goal after goal, and you're thinking this is an arm wrestle, it's going to break at some stage, and Charlie Campbell broke it open. He just said, oh, let me kick 3 in a row and have a look at it. Let's go down to Sarah Jones.
Harris, Charlie Cameron really set the game alight there with that burst of goals. What are you expecting Hawthorn to do to change things up in the second half?
Yeah, they're a fantastic team. We respect their quality around the ball, so I've got no doubt they'll look to improve in the contest, and we've got to be ready for that.
It looked really hard to move the ball at various times in the opening half. You needed patience. What was Chris's message?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we understand it's a big ground. We enjoy the space of the ground, so it's not necessarily blistering ball movement, but if we can just be really delicate with our kicking and look to pierce gaps through the middle, that'll help our forwards.
Like you're getting the rooms. Well done.
Thanks very much.
So the reigning premiers with the halftime lead here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Jason Dunstall and Gary Lyon to assess what's happened in the first half after this break.
All right, folks, I'll be back in a moment, the commentators, to give a bit of a wrap-up of the opening half. But I tell you what, the Brisbane Lions, they spread Hawthorn out there. And, of course, Charlie Cameron got on his bike 3 in a row. Wow-wee. The Brisbane Lions, 9-3-57, leading the Hawks at half-time, 5-4-34. It's the Lions by 23 points. Hey, don't write the Hawks off just yet. It's only 4 goals, folks, and we know 4 goals can be put on in a matter of minutes, just like the Lions did. The Hawks, though, they could only manage 2 goals, 3 in that second term, but have a look at the Lions. Thank your mother for the Rabbits, 7 goals straight. That's what it's all about. Kicking straight when you got the opportunity. 7 goals straight, the Lions in that second term. Absolutely magnificent, I tell you what. The crowd's alight. Wow-wee, the Lions, I tell you what, Eddie G. You know what? I think in this game today, it's not the team that wants it more. It's the team that's going to falter that'll allow the opposition to take out this game, because both teams are playing pretty good football. That being said, the Brisbane Lions defence is holding up really, really well. And the Lions are doing a little bit better, opening their forward line up in some aspects and getting those. I tell you what, it's a fantastic game, though. Wow. Tell you what, if you got a chance to actually watch it and stick in the chat, watch the game. If not, just listen along, because I'm sure the Hawks are going to come back. The Hawks are still playing pretty good football out there today, but it's it's not a high tackling game, as I was saying. I think they said the Hawks had about 5 tackles in that second term. We'll have a look at the tackle count in a minute. But I tell you what, what a game. What a game. I tell you what, if you're a Brisbane Lions supporter, let me have a look at the ladder here. Brisbane prior to this game, sitting second on the ladder. Hawthorn sitting fourth. If we turn that live ladder on, settle down there, Adrian. We know Brisbane are now on top of the ladder. Of course, Collingwood sitting second. That's only going to last for a couple of hours. You little beauty. Hawthorn drop down to fifth if they lose this game. It depends on their percentage, though. Same percentage, same games as the Gold Coast and the Cats. But Hawthorn, if they do lose, they don't want this margin to get out, or they'll percentage will drop. But the live ladder looks good for Brisbane at the moment. Hey, let's have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers, because we've got a few. Let's have a look at Hawthorn first, because there's just a couple there. Connor McDonough, he's the goal scorer down there for the Hawks. He's kicked 3 goals, 1. Josh Wordle, Blake Hardwick, singles. That's it. 3 goal scorers for the Hawks. For the Brisbane Lions, Charlie Cameron. I tell you what, he brings the fan and the team alike, doesn't he? 3. He got on his bike 3 in a row in quick succession. That's what we love to see Charlie do. Start to fire up the crowd. It's fantastic. He's got 3. Logan Morris and Calamachi with 2 apiece. Zach Bailey, Levi Ashcroft with 1. I'll tell you what, wow, this is like a finals game, folks. This feels like a finals game. There's probably a crowd of about 65,000 out there at the MCG. We'll come and have a look at the disposal getters in just a little bit. Let's get back to the commentators. They'll give us a little bit of a analysis on the opening half, and then we'll be back.
Unstall, this is a really great watch.
It certainly is, Sarah. The Premiers put their foot down in that second term. A 7 goals to 2, an extraordinary burst. And the host plus performance of the first half, guys, it has to be. That burst from Charlie Cameron, where he went bang, bang, bang.
We didn't really see it coming, although, I mean, he's had an interrupted season, not the Charlie that we've come to know over the journey, but he's stuck at it and presented, and he had a little bit of magic, a few moments here. He and Archie combining really well, and this left footer was the one that says it might just be, well, certainly Charlie's quarter, it might be his game here. That's the third of the 3. And that separated them all of a sudden. There had been this big arm wrestle where they both had periods where they were able to score and score pretty reasonably, but it's just Charlie Cameron has now made it a 23-point margin at half-time, and they'll take it.
Yeah, I think they'll be pretty happy with their work as they take a well-earned rest. They'll be just recapping a few things. Some headaches for the Hawks, because some of the numbers, as you said, for a quarter and a half, it was as tight a tuss as we'd seen. But some of the numbers now have swayed severely in Brisbane's favour.
Yeah, so the glaring number there is the 16 for the Hawks as compared to Brisbane. Now, that last 5 or 6 minutes might have blown this out a bit, but definitely the defences have been on top early, because it was 3 goals apiece early. It was hard work and you couldn't really find much space. I suspect it'll open up a little bit, but this is a worry for Hawthorn.
That's damning.
You'll throw that up. 5 tackles in a quarter of footy, on the big stage against the reigning premier. It's not going to get the job done, Jace. Eventually that'll get you.
And it's not just the number of tackles, it's the quality of tackles. They're not sticking the tackles that they are making. I think they're down around 21%. There have been some good signs for the Hawks when they've been able to move the ball the way they wanted, when they found space, broken open, and been able to put a bit of speed on.
Yeah, we didn't see this too often because both sides had closed exits off really well all afternoon. But when they do move the footy with this sort of pace and dare through the middle of the ground, it's when the Brisbane Lions defence look most vulnerable. The defensive match-up, Payne on Gunston's matched up really well. Charles can't get off the leash either, but if he gets a ball like this, then all of a sudden it'll be Dylan Moore and it'll be Nick Watson and Ginnivan that will start to get some good looks. So there is hope. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination. I suspect that they're going to be much more mind from a defensive point of view to try and get some tackle pressure on, but also I expect Hawthorn to really be a bit more aggressive with their ball movement.
Yep, so a great second quarter from the Lions. They've got themselves a 4-goal break. Plenty of headaches for the Hawks, but there's plenty of football going on today as well. And let's not forget a good win to Greater Western Sydney a little earlier on in the day over the Carlton Football Club. Now, this is one that Carlton needed to win to get themselves back in the next one of the Super Saturday team. Unpacking everything from that match on the other side of the break.
All right, folks, we're back. Let's continue. Have a little bit of a look at the player stats here up until half-time, as you just heard. Yeah, we'll have a look at the team stats also in just a moment. Just the 5 tackles in that second term by the Hawks. What they need to lift there. That being said, it's a pretty free-flowing game. Both teams have got a little bit of speed in the game, and I tell you what, They both look good when they put the speed on their game and running through the middle of the ground. Both teams are playing that today, which is just fantastic. Dane Zorko, Lockie Neal. There we go, top of the table for Brisbane Lions. And, of course, all the players out there, both with 17 touches. Having a great game, both of these boys, absolutely. Will Ashcroft next best with 15, top 3 coming from the Brisbane Lions. The Hawks' top player possession-wise is Josh Battle. He's got 14, 8 and 6. Hugh McCluggage, Connor McDonald, Giath, all on 13 next best. Josh Dunkley on 13 also. Let's keep rolling down. Josh Wordle on 11, still just the 1 goal from that opening term. Callum Achie's had playing a good game. Someone mentioned Callum Achie. I tell you what, I like the way he's moving today. He's had 11 touches, 6 kicks, 5 handballs, 6 marks. He's grabbing the ball well. Tina Shody, welcome in. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate that. Where are we? Callum Achie, 2 goals, 1. Is looking good. Looking good down there for the Lions. James Warple on 10 with Jai Newcomb. Ambrosia with just the 9 touches. Charlie Cameron, as I said, he lit up the MCG with his 3 goals there. 9 touches, 7 kicks, 2 handballs, 2 marks, 1 tackle, a clearance, 3 straight goals. Charlie, welcome back. You're doing good. Levi Ashcroft, wait until he gets going as well. He's only had the 9 so far. He's kicked a sausage roll. Jack Gunston, get down to see where he's going. Some of the big forwards for down there for the Hawks haven't done a great deal, I must say, that can put the Hawks alight. Let's just keep on going down. You know, that being said, Eric Hipwood played up the ground a little bit more today. He's only had the 5 touches, 3 kicks, 2 handballs, not yet hit the scoreboard. And we have a look down here. Have a look at some of these players. These are the players, folks. You Hawthorn fans out there, you want to get these players rolling down forward. 1, 2, 3. Have a look at them all with 3 possessions and 2. Jack Gunston, 3 possessions, 2 kicks, 1 handball, 1 behind. Jack Ginnivan, 3 possessions, 1 kick, 2 handballs, no score. Nick Watson, 2 possessions, 2 kicks, 1 behind. Mabe Chol, 2 possessions, 2 kicks. That is it. The 4 big guns have done nothing really in the opening half of football. So Hawthorn, if they can get those boys up and firing, they need them to get them up and firing to get Team Hawthorn back in this game. But as I said, 23 points the margin here at halftime. It's not a big margin when both teams are still playing well. It's just a matter of getting a little bit of momentum swing your way. And just opening up the opposition. And that's exactly what Brisbane Lions did in that second term. And I expect Hawthorn at some stage to have a little bit of a run as well. Team stats. I was going to have a little listen to the commentators there back. I just want to have a glance and see. They are having... No, they're just recapping the Carlton GWS game where the Giants got up today. There we go. Let's have a look at the team disposals. Plus 15 to the Lions up until half time. Everything's reasonably even. Inside 50s. 25 to the Hawks for just 9 scoring shots. They need to do a little bit better than that. Brisbane Lions inside 50, 31 times. 12 scoring shots. 9 goals, not too bad. Just a little bit over 1 in 3. Disposal efficiency, both going pretty even there at 75%. Inside 50 efficiency, 40 and 48. Hawks down a bit there, that is for sure. Free kicks, 9 to 12. The away team, the Brisbane Lions, plus 3. All free kicks pretty well should be given as what giving. And let me just have a little bit of listening here for a second.
And also footy in New South Wales, because as you said, you might not barrack for the Giants, but you'll tune in to watch them because of Toby Green. That's been the case for years.
That's right, they're just talking about the Giants just at the moment. So there we go, free kicks all pretty standard free kicks out there today. The hit-outs, Hawks on top there, plus 12. The clearances, the Lions getting on top there, plus 4. Going on season average, there are the Lions. Centre clearances, Not too bad for both teams. 6-9, Lions +3. Stoppage clearances all pretty tied up there. Contested possessions. Brisbane a little bit harder there at the ball. 76-53. 23 plus there to the Lions uncontested. Usually the Hawks have got that uncontested game on top of most teams. 121, 113. Turnovers, surprising that it's so high for both teams. 35, 37. Marks, all square, 47 apiece. Marks inside 50. There we go, 7 apiece. Both teams getting chances there. Contested marks, Lions a little bit stronger in the air, 5-1. Tackle count, this will be interesting. Well, both teams, 23, 28. The Lions on season average. Hawks started off well, 18 tackles in the opening term, just the 5 in that second term. They need to lift that pressure and try and stop Brisbane's run when they get that run on. Tackles inside 50. Lions 8 doing well. 4 to the Hawks. They need to pick that up a little bit. There we go. What have we got left? We've only got 5 minutes left until the bounce of the ball for the second quarter. Hey, folks, don't go anywhere. This is like finals football. This is what it feels like. This is a fantastic game. So I tell you what, I think this is probably one of the best opening halves of football that we'll see so far in this season. Both teams having a fantastic go. Both teams playing pretty good. It's just that the Brisbane Lions are doing it just a touch better, and they just opened Hawthorn up right here. It was a real arm wrestle up until the 22-minute mark of the second term, and then Charlie Cameron put on 1, 2, 3 goals. Levi Ashcroft finished off with the goals. So the Lions getting 4 late goals in that second term, and that's the margin, 23 points. To the Lions coming into half time. Of course, we're not too far away. Shody, the famous one, Tina's in the house. Game Board. Hey, folks, you want to check out another nice brand new channel. That's Game Board. That's Tina's new channel. If everyone's familiar with Tina and Bim Bim, they used to be here. Well, Tina, that's her new channel is Game Board. Make sure everyone checks her channel out. Actually, where is it? I can stick a link up to Game Board. Let me just bring it up. Tina, I'll put your link up in here for everyone. So there we go. So when I don't cover the games, folks, you can make sure you get across to Game Board, and she will do the game if I'm not here. No, don't be shy. Hey, folks, there we go. Get over there and give her a little bit of support as well. You can choose whether you want to stay there or stay on this live. That's all right. But head over there, give her a follow. I would very much appreciate you give my good friend over there, Tina, Game Board channel a follow. That'd be fantastic. All right, folks. Hey, don't go anywhere. Actually, folks, hey, while we're waiting for the third quarter to be bounced, you've still got another minute and a half or 2 minutes. Head over to Game Board, give her a like, say g'day to her over on her channel, and we'll be back in just a moment.
ball count was pretty damning. What did Sam have to say about that?
Yeah, the contested possession rate's pretty damning as well. I feel like the game's set up the way we wanted to. We just needed to be a bit tougher around the ball, keep our feet, make them defend a bit longer than we have made them. So yeah, we've probably been a bit too risky with the ball and jamming it inside the middle. So make them defend a bit longer and just be a bit tougher. I run really fast. Simple message.
Your own game. What can you do to get more involved in the contest?
Yeah, I'm trying. It's a hard one because they aren't contested marks and they build it up. So I'm going to try and get line of ball maybe a bit more and just make sure when I'm in a contest, be strong and make them count. Yeah.
I better get out.
Asking the hard questions. Great work, Sarah. James Sisley does need the lift. He mentioned that contested possession count, Jason. Good sides respond, and the Brisbane Lions have had it handed to them in the past two outings against both North Melbourne and Melbourne. In a contested possession point of view, they plus 23 at half time. They take that every day.
You had to expect them to come out and be ferocious, and I love the fact that he said they need to be stronger over the ball, keep their feet, be a bit tougher.
Sam Mitchell's never lost to Chris Fagan as a coach, but this is Chris Fagan's big day, his 200th game as senior coach of the Brisbane Lions, and his team are 23 points up as we start the third term at the MCG. Walker got a handball away, Rayner's in there for the Lions.
Upside for Brisbane too. Cam Rayner's barely fired a shot, so they've started him in the middle of the ground. Just the three possessions for the first half.
Ford reaches over the top. Rayner, Neil just took what was given. It wasn't much, but it got it to Hipwood, sent to by Barris. Back to Neil again. Rayner. Oh, there's no escape. Unfree, the umpire says so. The umpire thought he could escape. I'm not really sure how he could have got a meaningful disposal on that. But Moore was the tackler and got the reward for that. So that's what Hawthorn need to do. Bring the pressure, and they get an early win.
Morrison to Newcomb. Relatively quiet by his high standards in the first half. Not got much from the small forwards yet, the Hawks. Falls to Neil, front and centre, perfect position, drives it deep. Here's Sisley, a chance in the air, fisted away from him from Archie. He's kicked a couple of goals, having a good afternoon, sends it forward. Morris kicked the first two of the match. Scrimshaw, clean pair of heels. Better for the Hawks through the middle of the MCG. Now Nash, chipping Gaelic style ball. Out to Ginnivan. Also pretty quiet, just 3 disposals in the first half for Jack Ginnivan. It's just not flowing at the moment for the Brown and Gold.
Connor Nash hasn't had a lot of the ball, just the 7 possessions. Needs to be a little bit more careful with the ball, a little bit more prudent. You've got to hit that target.
Great effort, Scrimshaw.
Yeah.
They were in all sorts of
Save
trouble
the goal.
if he didn't glove that cleanly in the back half.
Lions by 23 as the rucks lock up. Ford got the fingertips to it, but again, it doesn't go too far from underneath. Charles the deepest forward for the Hawks at the moment. He put with that responsibility for the Lions. Which way will the footy go? Maybe Hawthorn's way. Newcomb and Nash see to that. Aim on instantly onto the left. Take a lot of time before this one is ready to move forward. Ward inside, work his way back onto it. Sisley. Morrison. Patient. The hard running of Amon rewarded. Now the all-important one. If he saw Warble, that was brilliant vision.
Well, we have to imagine he did until we can be proved otherwise. But one of the things James Sisley said is we've got to go fast. Well, I think he might have said we've got to run fast, but the message is you've got to get on with it and get the ball moving. And they started with a little bit more urgency. So here's the Amon kick. Yeah, I'm saying he meant Hutto.
He pulled it back brilliantly. So now the important part. James Warple, 2 goals, 6 for the season. From 40 out. It's a must for the Hawks, but it's away to the left.
The good thing for Hawthorn is the lead hasn't got out of hand. It was all happened in the blink of an eye, so they're still very much in the contest, but got to take their chances.
Zorko drives it straight down the middle of the MCG, aggressive. Moore brings it to ground. Battles away with Leicester, spills out McCluggage by hand. Dunkley, centre half back Neil, now good run, Zorko. Dangerous ball into the middle to Bailey. Good build up for the Lions. They continue to move it forward. Fletcher's on the overrun. Rayner had a quiet afternoon, but Rayner from 50 spells danger! Rayner, big finish. And Brisbane off to the flyer.
was one that we mentioned, only had the 3 touches in the first half, and this is the beauty of this Brisbane side. Chris Fagan can eyeball him at half-time and say, hey, we need more from you. Start him in the centre square. He's had some big touches already, and this is a sort of overlap. That kick there was magnificent to Bailey, and what was really important, you see Jath there, he was about to come up and maybe intercept for Bailey, but Lohman had to take him back, open that space up. So they're on the same page, this Brisbane side. Things starting to flow and work for them.
It's a 2-goal turnaround. Warple misses at one end, and then it's converted at the other. We go down to Sarah Jones. I believe the Hawks have used the sub, Sarah.
Yes, Sam Mitchell has pulled the trigger on the sub. It's a tactical one. Mackenzie off, McGuinness on.
Well, McGuinness, who wasn't in the original team, back in with the withdrawing on match day. The pluggage through Berry. A timely slip from Dunkley allowed Hawks just very brief access to the footy. Warple.
And the Warple miss, it's compounded by the fact they go the other end and Rayner is able to convert.
For more than holding his own. Ginnivan was about to release the kick, as you saw.
A quick whistle, that one, wasn't it?
This Brisbane side's just starting to roll. We spoke to Chris Fagan pre-game. He said, look, we're about middle of the road in everything we've done. The last 10 or 15 minutes has been super.
Ball went back to Warple rather than drag it in, and we have the ball up. So we're just going to have a roll. It'll be interesting to see how they utilise it. Thought, Meek does prevail in the end. Even couldn't quite. Same applied to 2 or 3 players. Nash only short and straight to Fletcher. So it's Brisbane attacking. Outnumbered at the moment at the fall of the ball. Awkward for Hipwood and Morris, who did well to win it, but getting rid of it's another thing. He did get a kick away. Weddle controlled it to Morrison. He was going to handball to Warple and realised the pressure was there. It remained there. Lohman's tackle had an impact, and now Morrison felt pretty helpless, just handballed and hope. Brisbane sweating on everything at the moment. Again, it's all rush ball from Hawthorn. Not hot ball, it's rushed.
See, Brisbane's pressure has been great. Whenever the Hawks look like they might win it, they've just been under siege.
Opens up again through Fort. Zorko, Brisbane putting the hammer down. Archie, Sicily. That'll build a bit of confidence in the Hawks skipper.
And Paul kick, Zorko had a beautiful lead from Zach Bailey. He got separation beautifully. Could have made the easiest chip over the top. He'd be having a set shot from 30. Good one-on-one for...
He needed a win. He needed a win like that, James Sicily, just to get himself going.
Yeah, I think it is Jarth, deep in the back pocket. To Barris, who marks strongly against a couple of Lions.
Yeah, he's been good, no doubt about that. Someone's got to spark him up here, though. They've got to get a bit of buzz going about him.
Donald kicked 3 in the first half. Haven't seen much of Watson.
And Gunston's led to the boundary, and Harris just lets him go and says, you're not going to get it over there. I'll just stay in line here. And
forced to Gunston now, though. Gets off Neil. Nash shrugs one tackle. Looked to touch high. It was. The reaction immediately came from Ashcroft in front of the umpire. Life end.
I wonder at what stage you're going to have to look at this forward 50, Jace, and see maybe the obvious one is the Sicily move, which they've done many a time. 5 goals they've kicked. It looks to me right now that Payne and Harris seems to have the number of both Chol and Gunston.
Levi Ashcroft to the outer side. McDonald, Bailey. McDonald does well to keep the ball in. Gave it to Meek, which was an interesting decision. And then Newcomb, little step, got away from his man, progresses it forward. Better from Newcomb. Sends it deep. We haven't seen much of Watson. He battles away to a dangerous area. Answorth's doing a fantastic job on the number 34.
Well, maybe it might have been a chance just to go back with the flight and impose himself then. He hasn't been able to get himself in the contest, just a couple of possessions. He's got to start jumping for the ball, really using his bulk and size.
It was a rather glum Sam Mitchell, and you can understand why as they form up for this throw-in. Can the Hawks snag one? Get him where he should be, underneath, but so much opposition. Neil took the territory. They're always going to be a bit vulnerable as defenders push up. Sicily, not to be perfect, not a lot of margin for error. Now Nash, who is a decent kick of the footy.
Long kick, Hutto. I wouldn't necessarily say the most accurate kick.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. That's trying to be nice and charitable, Jason.
But they need it. I mean, we saw the Warple miss, which would have given the Hawks the perfect start. They get punished at the other end. They've got to bounce back quickly just to get themselves mentally feeling back in the contest.
18 goals, 22 through his career. Has to dig deep and produce one of his best.
Never in doubt, that's why we're back in, guys.
Well, it was a bit of ball on the back of James Sicily taking his second intercept mark. So hopefully from a Hawthorn point of view, the skipper can start to get involved. This was the issue early in this game about defensive turnovers from the Brisbane Lions. They gave up too early in the piece. And again, just hacking the ball out of the defensive half straight to Sicily, and then the finish from Nash. Very Gaelic rules round the corner, but he flushed it beautifully. So will that be the spark to get them back in the game? So a couple of good signs here. Sicily starting to get involved in the back half. These forwards now got to get competitive. I've just wondered about Mavia Child with Harris, whether he's starting to think, I've got to take Harris away from the contest rather than what you said, just start jumping at the ball.
And Nash breaks a run of 5 unanswered from the Lions. Something for the Hawks. Looking to get it out of the middle. McGuinness subbed on for McKenzie. Does well to stand up in the tackle. Gives it straight to Ashcroft though. 8 to 9. Back to 8. Rayner tries to evade the tackle of Bailey. Also dangerous within 50. Dishes it off by hand. Gardner unusually deep forward. And then hooks it.
Good pressure out of the middle. But again, the clearance from the centre bounce.
10 to 6 now. 10 to 6, and that's putting a lot of pressure on the Hawks defence.
You can hear the Hawks fans trying to get on with their team and have an influence.
They've consistently done this with kickouts, Hunter. Everyone flooding one side of the ground.
Whittle's kick has length on it. Multiple hands up. Neil again. Wade through. Zorko lashed out. D'Ambrosio kept it in. Just jammed it a little further afield. Payne was ready. Gunston had to defend, and he did defend well because it allowed Hartwood to handball it back to him. Buzzing around more. Looks ahead. Watson's in the pocket waiting for the kick to come from D'Ambrosio. Trying to stand his ground, and the jumpers were able to get over the top and fist it away. Disrupted kick from Hipwood. Was right back into defence. Andrews, Moore. Can they get a bit of pizzazz going, the Hawks? Can we see a bit of what they produced last year?
It's Nick Watson you're looking at, and Answorth just got him. Yep. Right now, Answorth is playing as good a job, doing a good a job on Nick Watson as you can possibly do. Just got to keep asking the question, though, Nick Watson. Keep going to the contest. But defensively, he has been superb.
And Chol provide a bit of body to assist the Smalls. Meek. Warple runs onto it. Throws the hands back. Zorko bombs it forward. Sicily, Dunkley, big contest. Bash forward. Barris will be under pressure. Overruns it. Now goes back a second time. Scoops it up off the ground. They played pretty well, the Hawks. Just starting to get a little bit of flow. Now the athletic one, Weddle takes a bounce. Skips back in. To McGuinness. Runs forward. Picks it up cleanly eventually. Chol's free. They go to Watson, who'll stay down. Here comes Watson now. Hardwick. Better, though, for the Hawks. A bit more energy.
And they're starting to win it across half back and rebound back inside forward 50 at the moment. Sicily involved. Barris has been really good all day.
Fault to Tat. Neil claimed immediately by Nash, who was on a tight watch there. Dylan Moore underneath, so too. This man Ward steps through, was balanced enough to get a good snap away, but misses.
They're having a couple of moments though here. First time probably since the first quarter where their pressure started to be ramped up a little bit on the back onto the Brisbane Lions. They've been terrific.
Zorko near side, Warple just eases his man underneath the footy.
So look behind the ball here. They got Weddle as a spare to try to give them some drive. Give Sicily a bit more confidence. Now Weddle gets squared up with Archie.
Meek and Fort Newcomb streaks through just on the ground. Just too much on it from McDonald. Zorko uses the body, plays it brilliantly to Zorko. Drives it forward. Sicily's had a good start to the third term. Trouble in Morris. Weddle falls to a dangerous area. They overrun it. Hipwood, Archie's kick too. Archie to really hurt the Hawks. He's got free and does just that.
Well, we heard James Sicily talk talking with Sarah Jones coming out of the half-time break, and he said they've got to be stronger over the ball. It was Dane Zorko that was strong over the ball at half-back. He was the one in the Bunnings build-up. You'll see it here. This ball's up for grabs. Con McDonald's got front position, but he's pushed off. Zorko takes it away. And then again, it goes down the other end of the ground. Who's going to keep their feet? Who's going to keep the ball going forward? Who runs over it? Everyone runs away from it.
James Sicily runs to the back of the pack. That's his man.
Yep.
Calamachi's his man. So the captain's got to take responsibility for this. He's had a couple of good moments early in this third quarter, but at some stage you've got to lock on. And Calamachi's dangerous. He kicked 2 goals up to half-time. We'll get a look at that again. He just didn't want to stay in that contest and defend one-on-one.
Back in the middle again. Can the Hawks bring their own response to all of that? It's back out to 28 points. Free kick is going Brisbane's
That's 50.
way.
Oh, he just dropped it, Joel. That should have been 50.
This bloke this is not surprising anyone. Will Ashcroft is a damn good footballer. He thrives in the heat of the battle.
On the direct path to goal. Drop shot Archie. First onto it. Disrupted in flight. The hand's good enough by Morrison. Scrimshaw. Ginnivan out to the wing. Gunston engaged by Payne. They had the best view of the ball coming in.
Been more competitive, Jack Gunston, this third term.
More to Morrison. They are in a rush now, but not synced at all.
Well, if he squared it further, he had Weddle pushing forward. He had Newcomb a little shorter, but he's kicked it in the middle and found Harris.
Yeah, Harris Andrews, who went short to Wilmot. Rayner with his arms up for a good 25 to 30 seconds up at half forward, screaming for the ball, but either went unseen or unliked. Ball goes across half back instead to Levi Ashcroft, and now Dunkley. So the onus is on the Hawks. We've reached the midpoint of the third term. No real ground made. In fact, 27 at half time is now 28. A little bit of chipping practice.
So this is what they love to do, the Brisbane Lions. This is what the Hawks are going to be able to try and take off them now. They're the ones chasing. They've got 28 points to pull in here. Brisbane will be happy to chip this footy around.
Charlie demanding of his teammates to open up a little space. Sword got through the fingertips of hands with an error. Weddle, a 60-metre. Not the smartest kick as it turned out.
Well, I think he was bringing it out in front of Gunston, but Payne's just got him covered for speed. He ran past him. He had to go full blown for goal, Weddle.
Levi Ashcroft turns over to Amon. Brisbane with all the answers at the moment. Chol has been relatively quiet marks.
They've got the answers, Howie, but Hawthorn are creating opportunities.
Sure.
They'll get another one here. They haven't been efficient enough with the ball thus far. That's been the problem.
Yeah, the Weddle one's a classic example. I mean, you saw Rayner at the other end of the ground just go, I'm kicking this goal. Josh Weddle tries to lace out Jack Gunston on a race back to goal with Payne.
Needed for the Hawks. 9-6 for the season. Ginnivan started at the Pies, grew up as a Hawks supporter. Bends it round the corner and brings the Hawks supporters to their feet. Something for the home side.
Couldn't quite see what the celebration was, guys, but there was one there. Trying to generate some sort of enthusiasm.
All right, I'll be kind then. Let's try and get some buzz into the joint. Well, hey, they're hanging around here. 22 points is not insurmountable. That's by any stretch. And they are getting some better looks when they go forward. There's been a little bit more pace on the ball. Game wears on. Get a few more gaps open up. And Ginnivan, who's been quiet, takes his opportunity when it presents itself. 22 points is nothing in the modern game. And they're close enough. They're hanging around.
Good quick use of the footy from Carl Amon. That was the important kick inside 50. He was able to find Chop.
Much better performance in the contest, as you can see in this third quarter. And at last they hit the scoreboard to reflect that. It's back to 22. Ruckman both bouncing around. Fort reaches over. Neil batters it forward. Ashcroft again. Lohman. Scrambled ball. Hit the turf. The bounce doesn't really favour anyone, although Cameron got there first. Had time to tell Archie where to go to in the most polite fashion, but well disrupted by Hartrick, Sicily, D'Ambrosio. It's a slow ball out to the wing. Too hot to handle in the end, knocked forward by Fort. Newcomb, more twisting and turning his body. Newcomb again, decides to go by hand, might regret that now, it's wide and out.
He can do a lot worse than a play through Calamachi. James Sicily, whether he's trying to read the ball come in, or I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's not playing tight one-on-one footy that you need to do right now as an out-of-forward defender.
Just swapped over now with Scrimshaw, and he's gone on to Logan Morris.
He's got 3 Archie, 2 in the first half, 1 in his third term. Another possession for Ashcroft. Will. Fletcher, Sicily, there's some pushing. He outmarks Morris. They're starting to come into it, Sicily.
Yeah, that's a better matchup for him, by the way.
Now aim on lethal left boot. Takes a bit off the kick. There's a ball to be won. Goes the way of Wilmot. Another possession. Ashcroft shrugs the tackle to his brother. Now forward to Leicester. Brisbane running ahead of the footy. Lyman. Good build-up.
Game's opened up, Howie. The game has opened up, so now it's about how well you can use the footy and the decisions that you make when you get in possession. The turnover game is on right now. 2 can execute, the better.
Hasn't kicked a goal this season, Lyman, from right on his range. Makes good connection. Right to the teeth of goal. And Battle takes a strong mark with pressure coming.
Quick decision. Into the pocket. A safe one. Ward. Amon. Morrison calls for it out wide. He's tossed the kick out. That allows Ainsworth to have a decent crack at it. Staunch was Morrison. Saw the run of Moore. So far, so good for Hawthorn. It's all been kick mark. Now there's the run, the handball to receive. Morrison digging deep. From the patch on the wing, he kicks to Newcomb. There's targets inside 50, hands up. Spoilt for choice. Long to the square. Child turns. Gunston flies, but no one can beat Jack Payne. In fact, all season, very few have. He's become a great ally for Harris Andrews.
They're going to change the way they go in. They can't go long to a one-on-one with Jack Payne up against Jack Gunston. It's just asking for the ball to come back out.
It just didn't get back far enough from being on the mark. John Newcomb, he had a player out the other side.
Just couldn't access him in the tight angle.
Gee, Jack Payne's been good though. That saved the goal, that mark there.
Now Brisbane can build through the skipper. If he gets the bounce, he does. Only the distance, in fact, not. Berry. Morrison stays off him. Bangs the ball inside 50. Barris with a fist. Brisbane pressing. Gardner. Did he keep the ball in? Lyman. Not quite going his way at the moment, Kai, but he's a burst man.
Again, the ball whipping now from one end to the other. Early on in this game, first quarter and a half, he could not go from one end to the other. Now, it's going with ease, and you've just got to finish the playoff.
Heyman again, beautifully connected with Barris.
That is some kick.
It was exquisite, really. On the bounce from Moore is awkward. You wouldn't know it. Big Meat picked it up. Undoes his good work with the handball. For Grimes, it's really what Hawthorn have done. They've done some nice work, but giving it back. Heyman steps forward though. And they start another movement off the half-back. Some hesitation from Moore.
Had to go out of Dylan Moore.
And by Ashcroft. Gave and got back from Gardner. Outright to Loman. Here's the entry. High and wide. It wasn't really well set for Charlie Cameron. Much better for Sicily. And the Hawks again are going to channel it through Morrison and try and stream forward from Hardwick back in defence.
Someone's got to connect going inside 50 here. This goes. Everyone gets a shot at it at the moment.
It's a power, quick lead from Watson. His little legs were spinning.
So Gunston's down the line along with Payne. Can't go there. Have to square it up. Well done.
Which is what he does, just to Scrimshaw. Sicily, he's had a really good turn. Probably his best for a month or so. Goes into D'Ambrosio, better from the Hawks. Aim on. Can they get the connection piece? It's in the hands of Big Lloyd. Drops it forward to Ginnivan. Moore pokes it deep is where he wants it, but Gunston on the lead. They still need to drop back a couple here or they'll have an issue with the umpire.
They're just trying to move it as quick as they can now, the Hawks. The lateral, change direction, quick kicks by foot and try and hit targets. Whether they can hit enough targets to open Brisbane up, but the game has certainly opened up a little bit.
And this is Jack Gunston's best. This is his only real chance against Jack Payne, and that is to hit up at the ball.
23-13, there was a period where in the Hawks' heyday, he just never missed Gunston. Needs this for the Hawks. Tugs it left. Second miss for the day.
But there's a little bit of momentum. There's just a little bit happening for them. Both teams have been inside 50 10 times for the quarter. Both had good looks.
Berry to Wilmot. 3:30 now remaining in this third quarter. how precious one more Hawthorn goal could be. That's a missed kick and a misfire from Zorko for the first time today.
Give Gunston a chance to redeem himself.
Kick the goal. Just take the responsibility here. You've been gifted a gilt-edged opportunity here to close it to within 16 points.
What could be better after you blow one than that, getting another opportunity? Maybe one that was a little bit easier. You can't quite connect on the snap.
But that's an indicator that the pressure's building, yeah? So Dane Zorko just whacks one out on the full. Takes the more conservative option.
Down the line ball. Hawks have got the numbers at ground level. Back to Sicily. He eases it forward to Walker. Hawks pressing. Just not hitting the scoreboard at the moment. Now Ward runs out of the room. Just gives it straight to Neil. That is unusual and could hurt them the other way. Here come the Lions. And Charlie's happy just to take a bit out. See some red jumpers flow past him, which they do now. Get set up to Berry. Big turnover off half-back.
And the last few entries, James Sicily's been the one that's been able to intercept, so they need to be aware of him as much as they have to. Hawthorn has to be aware of Jack Payne going the other end. So not a bad move this, although Eric Hipwood is one of their key targets. Darcy Fort's worked his way down with Lloyd Meek.
Sicily's the spare man. He's off the footy here, though. Good hand in by Berry. It took some courage. Hardwick's been at either end now. He finds himself in defence.
Can't give one up here in the Hawks, having had opportunity.
Newcomb tries to squirrel it out. Morris kicked the first two of the match. Ball stays alive. Danger for the Hawks. Morrison throws it on the boot. Made no real contact. Lloyd with a spin turns over it again to Answorth. He goes straight in the back of a teammate and front on contact. And a bit of push and shove as well.
Good result for the Hawks. Hung in there. Prepared to put their head over the ball here. There's a little belief coming back into this Hawthorn side, I feel.
Don't forget that Brisbane have given up leads in the last 2 weeks. A draw they hang on for against North Melbourne. They're overrun by Melbourne in the last quarter. 4 goals, 8 to 1-1 in the final term. After leading by 14 at that stage. Well, there's no doubting their talent and their athletic profile. None better than this man. Weddle, 2 bounces. He runs the boundary, Buddy Franklin style. He fires. Well, it was a bit of a nothing kick after the build-up.
Bill Gunston lost his footing. He lost his feet.
Sam Mitchell just about lost the plot.
You're trying to build on momentum. That could have lifted big time.
Second time he's hit Payne in the defensive goal square for the quarter.
Mitch did a bit of hitting of his own in the box. Channeling his old coach, he was there. Took down the sponsors board. So Brisbane trying to press through Cameron.
The crowd was ready to erupt if he could have just threaded the needle from there, Weddle. That would have been something spectacular. From a standing start on the wing, he just took off.
2 players move as smoothly as that.
Yeah.
Bad miss, bad opportunity missed.
Important moments here. Brisbane. Hawthorn have been pressing with no real result. Jath takes them up.
So they're marking the footy now in their back half, which is really important. So
4 intercepts to Sicily on his own this quarter.
8 to 5 marching opposition kicks for the quarter for Hawthorn, and they're launching off their half-back line.
Hanging out to the near side. Some run for the Hawks.
It's opened up everywhere. Look at this ground.
McDonald. McGuinness just drives it deep forward. Weddle's gone forward. The athletic one tries to shrug a tackle. Does Weddle. Eventually has to give it back to Morrison. Fletcher arrives. Doesn't quite get the line, but now eventually does.
There's worse ideas than kicking to Weddle in a one-on-one inside 50. At least you know he's going to halve the contest.
Yeah, well, they need another option, and we're not picking on Jack Gunston, but Jack Gunston can keep drawing Jack Payne out by leading up in the footy. They need another option to kick to.
Now the Hawks would love to snag one in the final 22 seconds of the term. Brisbane have been resolute under pressure. Tackle applied. Big call that.
There you go.
This boy's got something to say, Dane. But he looks okay, which is the good news. Jared Berry doesn't look to be in a lot of trouble.
Let's just take a week off. Jared Berry. Game on, hello. Oh, game on indeed. Don't forget what happened last 2 weeks to the Brisbane Lions. This is a massive stage. It feels like a September rehearsal, even though we haven't quite headed into winter just yet. It's Brisbane by 21, but it feels like and it looks like the Hawks are coming.
All right, folks, three-quarter time here. It's the Lions by 21. The Hawks winning that quarter by 2 goals, putting on 2 goals for the Hawks in that third term. The Lions, 2 goals, 2. Tell you what, the Hawks are coming, like they said, but it's just some of the use of their ball going inside 50. Wordle had a couple of shots, but just it didn't kick them long enough to put it through for a score. I'll tell you what, the Hawks are still in this game. And, of course, I'm sure that'll be talked about in the Hawthorn rooms. Brisbane, the last couple of weeks, stopping to give up their lead. And, of course, losing and drawing to North Melbourne. I'll tell you what, we are in for a ring-a-ding-ding game. Bianca, great to see you in here. Been a while. Go Hawks for you. Leo, shouty, shouty. Bill says go Brisbane. Good stuff. Elliot, how you doing? Welcome in. There we go, folks. I tell you what, we're in for a great game. Of course, 4 goals put on in that third term. Let's go and have a look at the goal scorers now. How they stand at three-quarter time. Connor McDonald, 3 goals for the Hawks. Josh Wordle just with a 1 with Nash, Hardwick. Jack Ginnivan snapped 1 truly. There you goal scorers for Hawthorn. For the Brisbane Lions, Charlie Cameron, not able yet to add to his tally to his 3 goals in that second term. He's still on 3 with Calamachi. Logan Morris with 2. Cam Rayner with 1 with Zach Bailey and Levi Ashcroft. Brizzy winning another flag, Area 81. How you doing? Well, I tell you what, for you I hope so, but for me I hope the Pies do. There we go. We'll be covering the Collingwood game next versus North Melbourne. Lockie Neal continues to lead the way. I tell you what, he is a star, isn't he? Lockie Neal, 27 touches, leads the way at three-quarter time for the Brisbane Lions. And overall, 16 kicks, 11 handballs, 3 marks, 4 tackles, 4 clearances. Dane Zorko having another good game, 26. Harry Morrison climbs up the table there for the Hawks on 22. Will Ashcroft, 22. And then you got a bunch of Hawthorn next on the line. Amon, 21, Weddell 18, Battle 21, Warple 17, Ward 17, and Newcomb 17. Hugh McCluggage still on 17. Let's continue down just a little bit. Have a little bit of a look. Jyth up to 16. Good to see. Levi Ashcroft, it's looking for a big quarter from him in the final term. 16 touches, 9 kicks. He's kicked a goal. Calamachi's having a good game. He's up to 16, 9 and 7, 7 marks, 3 goals, 1, like the way he's playing. James Sicily got into the game a little bit in that third term. Sheila May, hey, Chia, mega love shout out. Good to see you. Good to see you. Got one of my members in the chat. Shelty, Chia, Botiti, big win. Sana all. Zach Bailey up to 13. Charlie Cameron, as I said, he's just had the 12. Can he set the Lions fans the light of the MCG? Can he snare a couple more in that final term? We will wait and see. Not too far away. Hey, mind you, Eric Hipwood hasn't done much today. He's just had the 8 touches, 5 kicks. Well, he's kept scoreless. Jack Ginnivan finally put one on the board for the Hawks. 8 touches, 5 kicks, 1 goal. Gunston, well, he still hasn't kicked a sausage roll. Just the 7 touches, 5 kicks, 3 behinds. Nick Watson, the wizard. No wizardry at all about his game today. 3 touches, 3 kicks, 1 behind. And Chol, just the 3 touches for him. There are your team stats. We're going to head back down to the ground in just a moment. Shouty, everyone, from Sheila May. Hey, great to see you in here. Cheer. All right, folks, let's head back down to the ground. It's the Lions, 11-5, 71, leading the Hawks, 7-8, 50. It's the Lions by 21. Can they hang on, or can the Hawks mount a comeback and cause, well, what could be a little bit of an upset, the way the Lions have pretty much been in control of this match today?
Sicily, and he's been a bit like that all day, to be honest. The best of him is the man who had 4 interceptions intercept marks and started to drive them from the back half. So he's got a role to play. The right time though, Jace, you've got to close up.
It was the Lions that dominated contested possession in that first half. They dominated clearances in the third term. They dominated clearances again, 10-4, 3 centre bounce clearances to nothing. But it was the Hawks that won contested possession. That's what they're able to do. And on the back of that, they might be able to overrun the Lions, given they haven't been strong in their fourth quarters in recent times, just winning one of the last 5.
Sam Mitchell can throw that up. I'm sure he's throwing all those things at his team.
But when they win contested possession games, they were then able to switch it quick because things have opened up a little bit and turn it into some uncontested possession to then take forward.
There's life in this Hawthorn side. Weddle provided the spark as well. He had gilt-edged opportunities when you think about it, twice. Well, the first one, he just tried to drop it into the goal square and had Gunston run onto it when he should have kicked the goal. And the second one would have been goal of the year had he been able to kick it. So, hey, it's well placed. The Brisbane Lions love the fact that they've got this 21-point margin. That man there, Will Ashcroft's been outstanding in the middle of the ground. Their clearance work has started to overwhelm Hawthorn a bit at times. Ashcroft in the middle along with McCluggage had 15 clearances between them so far. 5 of those centre bounce clearances to Will Ashcroft, really important.
Neil leads all comers with 27, Zorko 26, Morrison 22. Archie's kicked 3, as has McDonald.
Warble and Newcombe are going to get busy. They're going to really get busy, particularly from a centre bounce point of view. It just got a little bit too much. They lost centre bounce in that third quarter, and they lost it in the second quarter as well, the Hawthorn Footy Club. So they've got to be competitive in here if they're a chance to win. Find out a bit about the Hawks here, Howie.
Gunston with 3 behinds that dearly love him to get his kicking boot on. Final quarter. Brisbane lead it by 21 points. The Hawks have won the last 5 times the 2 sides have met, but Brisbane in the box seat at the moment, looking for an early clearance, but Neil's got other ideas.
Neil just suggesting the umpire, well, he had that tucked under one arm and it was free. Should have been a free kick.
Ford, Meat, Nickel applies a tackle on a player, didn't have the footy. Dunkley immediately gives it to Berry. Brisbane looking to ice the game as quick as they can. Barras out the back. Rayner scoots clear and bangs it home, Rayner. And that is the start Brisbane wanted.
Well, this is what this bloke is capable of doing. He might have run 30 metres. We'll have to look at it again. Because he was initially going to kick it. So centre bounce goals, or near enough to centre bounce clearance and goals are worth their weight in gold. So he picks it up here. He's going to kick it, then he thinks, no, I'll take the tackler on. He's an unbelievable talent, Cam Rayner. He's been really quiet. He's had 6 possessions, but he's got that ability. He's kicked 2 goals now just from limited opportunities.
I don't think there's much doubt that he ran at least 20 metres.
Well, I don't even know when the umpire put, I was watching the umpire thinking he's going to blow his whistle, but he didn't even think about putting the whistle to his mouth.
2 goals for Cam Rayner, starting in the goal square at the start of this quarter, and it paid dividends. McCluggage will give their forwards another look at it. Morris comes out. Safe pair of hands. He's told those teammates to go back, but why not hit to the hot man in the leading lane, which was open, and Rayner takes the mark.
I want to have a look at that Morris come up his opponent, because defensively is left a bit to be desired. Is left a bit to be desired today, the captain of Hawthorn. And this pass from Morris is absolutely elite. And this is the sign of a really good side. You can have quiet moments, but quiet game, but when your moment arrives, and it's arrived twice for Cam Rayner in the third quarter of this last quarter, he's been up to it.
Kick 3 in the draw against North a couple of weeks ago. Goalless last week.
Well, it's a let-off, but it's centre bounce demolition by the Brisbane Lions, and they're turning them into scores. They're getting really good looks going forward. 13-6 out of the middle. The Hawks just can't compete in that space at the moment. It's really costing them.
Looking for something from fullback. Kick to a contest towards Chol hasn't been a factor.
Any leaders they can pull, looking at their forwards, so Gunston stays there, Chol stays there, their opponents still Payne and also Harris.
I think they created enough opportunities in that third term, they just didn't take them.
Yep.
Otherwise it could have been a kick in it.
Watson and Chol, just 3 disposals each to date. McClark is dominating clearances at the moment. Brisbane Nash just sits on his man. D'Ambrosio almost putting the effort in. Ginnivan with a wrestle. Might get a free. Gunston's deep. Payne's had his measure for the majority of the afternoon. He hooks it round the body. It's a scrappy effort. Oakley hugs the line. D'Ambrosio wanted to keep it in. Here's Chol. Sweeps the hand pass to Warple. Flicks it out to Newcomb. Just in time to aim on. Here's Chol. He's got a bit of space. Needs to go back and slot.
Well, he's been a clever user of the ball today, Carl Amon, when he's had the opportunity. He's got really good vision. I love the ball in his hands, in D'Ambrosio's hands when they go forward. He just looked up. He saw Chol pushing back into space, chipped it over. Now it's up to Marbior to go back and give them the goal that they desperately need.
Is there a more laconic kicking style than this man?
It's pretty relaxed, isn't it?
Multiple goals in each of his last 5 games. Hasn't hit the scoreboard this afternoon. Chol, how the Hawks desperately need this from the number 18. On the left, Skinny. We've missed numerous set shots this afternoon, have the Hawks.
He's averaging 2 goals a game this year. Marbior Chol, the same as when he kicked 44 for the Suns. They really needed one there. Safely into Zorko. Cameron. Oh, there is something Morrison can do. Cameron got a bit out of sync. Ginnivan waits for this more run, and Jath off half back. Stands up. When he gets a full head of steam, he's quite capable from this far out.
I think he's backing himself here. The way he has just strolled back, expecting to arc out to the right and maybe take the man on the mark and get a little bit of ground running to the side of that mark. But
You like him from here?
thought he had some options if he had to move the ball quickly. It wasn't a great kick to him that made him go low to ground.
He hasn't even scored so far this year. Off half back, he marches in.
Had the journey. Had the journey. He did turn his head. It looked like Josh Battle said, go on and have a crack at it. You only need one buck to tell you you can, and then you can ignore everyone, Jason.
So a couple of missed opportunities.
Got to build pressure, the Hawks. Build pressure, keep it in the half.
6 goals, 7 from set shots this afternoon. Hawthorn.
Set up well here, down the line.
Good structure behind the footy. Sicily with a fist. In towards the corridor. Oh, Wilmot a handy little gather. Zorko spreads it, but only as far as Morrison. A few rare errors today as Zorko. Battle. Bangs it deep. Chol's out of position. Holds on to Andrews, so it falls to ground. Watson, McDonald. Oh, kick straight to his teammate. Scott! It's that time of afternoon for the Hawks. Still they press. Free kick. Ginnivan will give away a 50 if he kicks it. Sure, it kicked it into a teammate Scott.
That was 50 metres. That was silly from Ginnivan to kick it after that. Obviously,
That was ridiculous.
it's just stupid.
They had some pressure on here.
Kicked it straight to the body of Chol.
So it's Levi Ashcroft. They've kept the forward 50 pretty open here. Brisbane Lions through the first layer, which is easier said than done. And their forwards can have a run on it. It's going to be a slow play now, so the Hawks will protect. It's Will Ashcroft.
So this is always in their kit bag here, is to just take uncontested marks and take 6, 7, 8, take some time off the clock. This is what he'd like to do. The Hawks going to make him go long. That's a good result.
Fletcher still trying to direct it. Sicily in front. Rayner crashes over the top. Morrison's had an excellent day. Under pressure, his 24th disposal. He's been a resilient player for Hawthorn. As the new players came along, took his place. He was able to fought back and reclaim it last year, even when the Hawks were hot late in the season. They need everyone to contribute now. They need a spark. Left footer from Rayner inside 50. Sicily in front, but Archie takes care of him. And he's just put it down.
He just let it go.
He had to hang on to it.
Well, he could have, if he had kept it, I think he could argue that there was no opportunity, but he let it.
Yeah, he
just
can.
let it-
And
50.
And 50.
This is Sicily and Hawthorn at their worst.
He hasn't had a great afternoon. Save for about 15 minutes, James, in the third quarter. As the captain of this football club, he hasn't defended well enough, and now he's let himself down here.
So Ginnivan gives away the 50, and then Sicily gives away the 50.
Yeah. Everyone can be frustrated with the decision. when the game's slipping away from you, you've just got to be better than that.
Memories of grand final day for Calamachi are fresh and delightful. That's 4.
You'd be disappointed with that, Jace, I reckon.
And you can see the face on the coach Sam Mitchell in the box as well. He said you place it on the ground, no genuine attempt, and that's a very fair decision. He's actually got the arm locked there, the left arm, so it's a great tackle.
So he says he's trying to
kick it, maybe.
Trying to do a roll drop kick. Now you put yourself in a... It's a good tackle, by the way, so let's give Archie some credit. The tackle's made, you've got one arm held. We've heard it all day today for both Hawthorn and Brisbane. The umpires talk to each other, one arm free, of which he had one arm free. He's claimed he tried to roll it onto his boot. I think that's ambitious. Archie's kicked 4, and they're 32 points up.
Game high 32-point margin. The way of the Lions coming back into some good form after a loss and a draw. The Hawks staring down the battle of both Queensland team, knocking them off in consecutive weeks. Can they do something? Chol, Warple, end over end forward through the hands of Andrews. Weddle starting deep, scooped up off the ground. Warple attacks it to his mate Newcomb. Now to Ward. Ginnivan simply must finish. Ginnivan doesn't really time it, needs a bounce.
There's an old adage when it gets to this sort of margin that they've got no choice. Maybe it'll work for Hawthorn, where they've just got to be far more aggressive. But what this Brisbane Lions side will do is they'll take the heat out of the game by this uncontested mark change.
But another gilt-edged opportunity there for Ginnivan. It's a poor snap.
Lester Bailey, Dunkley.
So they've had 18 scoring shots to 19, and yet you trail by 31 points.
Here he guides to Archie. It's the Doug Nichols round. What an afternoon he's had. 4 goals, 3 to Charlie Cameron. And the Lions leading by 31. Up and under kick. Loman's one that they'd still like to rediscover his form. It's over and out.
So they've got to generate urgency. 13 minutes, 32 points. Hawthorn just got to go. They can't get lulled into a stoppage, a slow, uncontested mark game. That's exactly what Brisbane will try and do for the next 10 minutes or so. Whereas they're going to try and Hawthorn got to try and generate some buzz and excitement, preparedness to run and carry and take a risk.
Little back at the ruck. Goes to Hipwood, they win it away. McGuinness to Warple, hasn't been his afternoon. Although he's soldiered on, but just hasn't come together. He puts it down. And eventually the umpire said he dragged it back in.
I reckon he's been unlucky there. He was held low, he was held while he didn't have the ball.
There's some pressure numbers there. That comes about also because of these uncontested marks. That makes it hard to get pressure on, but they've got to, as I said, get this into flow.
There he goes, very short. Moore elected not to take possession when he could have. Just punched it forward. Could hurt them on the way back. Ashcroft inside 50. Look at this man. He was quiet. Then Rayner just went whack, whack, and he'll line up for another one.
Yeah, you're right, Howie. Dylan Moore could have taken possession, and once he chose to knock it, the problem was Nick Watson had taken off running back towards goal instead of coming up to support at the contest. And so it was 1 against 3. Brisbane were always going to take it forward, and he's enjoying a really good last turn, Cam Rayner.
What a journey he's had. Premiership player, #1 pick back in 2017, missed all of 2021 with a ACL, only missed 1 game since. Rayner from directly in front, he's missed a couple of opportunities to completely ice this game of football.
As we said, it's a nice weapon to have up your sleeve though. If your forward line's not functioning for whatever reason, or you want to give it a different look, Cam Rayner in the goal square is not a bad option. And Will Ashcroft out of the middle, streaming forward, is a much better option.
Scrimshaw comes away, targets Newcomb. Spoiling was done by Hipwood, but the Hawks have some numbers. Ginnivan is not coming together for him at the moment. Wilmot high, Archie has to wait, that won't worry him. Fires and marks anyway.
Played a super game.
Yeah. He's a super player.
He's one of those players I really enjoy watching, Hunter, because he does this most weeks.
It took almost a decade for him to realise his talent, I guess, from having the run without injury and disruption.
And perhaps settle into that position.
Yeah, he was a pick 8 originally, so he was a talented youngster.
What you're seeing here, though, with this style of game, it doesn't allow Hawthorn to get the game into dispute. They haven't laid a tackle for the quarter, Hawthorn.
Only like 4 second turn. Long to Loman, who flew, and so did Morris. Warple has to defend grimly. Rayner threatens again. Ashcroft always threatening, always with a knack of kicking big goals.
Well, I've just spoken about the scoring shots before. So the Hawks have had 18 scoring shots. That's now 21 for Brisbane. Only 6 of those 18 for Hawthorn have been from inside 40 metres. 17 of the Lions' 21 shots at goal have been from inside 40 metres. So they're getting the deeper entries, and that's where they're able to punish the Hawks and kick those goals from much closer in.
Rayner again involved, playing now the goal square, and this bloke, Will Ashcroft, gets better and better and better. He's at the elite pointy end of footballers in this competition. He's only in his 3rd year, I think, isn't he? Will Ashcroft's got a Norm Smith medal in the premiership, and he's just getting better. So this is the professional outfit that is the Brisbane Lions. This last quarter, they've had 17 uncontested marks to 3. That means Hawthorn can't get involved in the contest. They can't get the goal into debate. I don't know what that means, but it's not working, whatever it is. So they control the footy, no tackles, no pressure, and they're running away with it.
Well, that means, Jason, I've been ruminating that for a while.
There's a stream in the forest.
The Hawks are deep in the forest at the moment. I'm not sure they know the way home.
I think that's go natural. Just run with it and see what happens.
Bit of free stuff.
I have no idea.
There's a nice watercolour there.
Sort of get the top off Dev Robinson style, Jason.
What a job this is for Brisbane, though. And roaring back into form. If they were ever out of it, Neil. Check side. Brass have tried hard all afternoon.
They can't be more impressed with the way that Brisbane have been able to play this after what was a really interesting game for about a quarter and a half.
I reckon at 3/4 time too, Chris Fagan might have just said, remember our last quarters over the last 5 weeks, how ordinary they've been? And they have come out spitting fire. They have put the pressure on, they've tackled, they've possessed, they've scored, they've surged, they've done it all.
3 goals to zip for the turn, the way the Lions. Ashcroft racking up possessions. Jath, Sicily. Spreads it immediately wide to the sub. McGuinness on from McKenzie just after half-time.
Saw Robertson, who is Brisbane's sub, still hasn't been activated. Gentle warm-up for him. His first game for the season. He'll be raring to go.
So Gunston's off the ground. They got Weddle to play deepest forward. Put their work up really high to get the ball.
Weddle walls up to the wing. Kick goes to half forward.
This is really strange positioning from Arbiel Chol. Then he was out the back of Harris Andrews calling it long. And as soon as Weddle went to kick it long, he then went and stood in front of him and was able to be held underneath the ball while a secondary marking target came over the top.
He put up. At the back aim on. Sharp kick into the middle. Ginnivan turns quickly to goals, but then Ambrosio over to his left. Saw him, kicked it in his general direction. Leicester, though, knew what was coming. D'Ambrosio stays on his feet. For now, at least, Lions crowd him out. It was ever more difficult. Just handled so expertly by the Lions defence. Look at that handball from Harris Andrews. Every bit of 35 metres. And it's a Saturday stroll for Berry. Beckons his teammates to come. Same wavelength as Charlie Cameron. They've got to the wing. Where to next? Bailey's down the line. Loman.
Hit the free man. That's what they'll do.
Yep, and that's Gardner. Pops up.
It was Ryan Lester's effort down back. He's one of those unsung heroes that just does a job every week.
Through the middle to Wilmot. And pop kick over the top for Fletcher. Let it bounce, which enables McGuinness to challenge. Fletcher goes down.
A late whistle.
21 uncontested marks for the quarter.
And McCluggage gave a decent target. And he's gone down too.
James Sicily just got caught napping. He was the closest man responsible. Couldn't get there.
I'm not going to enjoy looking back on this tape, I don't think, but just the professionalism to close this out. Hugh McCluggage has been huge as well.
He's on the backside there.
Yeah, he landed heavily. Hutto, wouldn't it be like a corky of some sort, I reckon? The fact that he's staying out there suggests it's nothing other than that. But they are professionally putting this thing to bed. As Dev Robinson comes on, the sub's been activated for Logan Morris, I think.
That's right, guys. Yes, Logan Morris is off.
Hugh McCluggage. They've had some chances to bury them even further in this last quarter. It wasn't a particularly easy shot, but 3 goals, 3 for the term for just 3 points. The margin is now 39 points.
12 of the last 16 goals of this match have Brisbane. They're dominating the Hawks. Hawks all around the ground and on the scoreboard. And the question to be asked this week of Hawthorn and where they're at. They've got a tough period coming up as well. Newcomb driving it forward. Moore's out the back. Plays on. He's got Watson inboard. Goes for home. And finally the Hawks roll out a major in the final term.
Good ball movement once again, but it's just been few and far between. The Lions, more often than not, have been able to close them down. It was the change of direction that found Hardwick, and then it was a terrific kick in that found Newcomb, and he just played on. He knew he had a little bit of space ahead of him, Dylan Moore. Just one touch for the quarter. His first, he kicks a goal, gives them a faint hope.
It's the optimism we love here.
Trying to be positive.
Yep.
It's a trademark, Jace.
You fell off the chair.
They need a very clear set of bounds here just to get us really up and about here, Jace.
They haven't looked like winning set of bounce clearances.
That's what we expect.
That's what we're after.
But here we go.
Crowd of 58,000 at the MCG. Is there a few big roars left? McCluggage. Rainmaker towards Archie. You can roar for that one, Brisbane fans.
Well, he should take the 30 seconds off the clock, take a few deep breaths.
He's one of the best on the ground for mine.
Well, he kicks this, he's got 5 goals. He's had an outstanding day. He's given the captain, Hawthorn captain, a fearful hiding. And a man who wasn't that far away from Norm Smith medal has come back to the scene of the deed and might very well walk off with another 5-goal award here.
Yeah, might just go one better than on grand final day. Comes in from 40 out, another one left hanging. 3 goals, 4 for the quarter.
It's just a really good sign for the Brisbane Lions today. I reckon Chris Fagan in his 200th game as a coach, he's thrilled with what he's been able to witness.
Ball pinging around. Ambrosio been good. Newcomb waits and spots a little gap and accesses it to Giath. Centre wing. Weddle just arches his back. Brisbane just have the answers where required. Cameron hangs on to Ward for a long time and picks it up.
Right.
Kick 3 and a burst in Charlie in the second term to really split the game. Now Loman in the middle.
And that's even better sign. Seeing Charlie Cameron defend like that in his defensive 50.
Yeah, and the strength of it was he kept his feet while Josh Ward went to ground. That's why he won the ball. Well done, Charlie Cameron.
Loman gives up territory but retains possession. Answorth.
Dislocated a finger, I think, in doing so. Kyle Loman.
This guy looks like he's coming off.
The excitable Wilmot.
No. Just put it back in, Hutto, and he stays out.
Will not get the footy here, although they eventually go out wide to Lockie Neal, who's coming up for possession 29.
And over 40 here at his other game at the MCG this year against the Tigers. Been instrumental again today, Lockie Neal, leading from the front, off half-back now. High ball, invitation to run, jump, and fly and take a mark like Barris does.
Well, he could be well pleased with the way he's played today. Tommy Barris, he's really defended well.
So it's back to another man who's been good in Amon. Good point is centre half-back. Hardwick slings the kick out wide. McDonald waiting for it. Dunstan was on a long lead. He kind of had to double and go again. Never easy.
And Answorth is absolutely obliterated the Wizard Watson today. Nick Watson's had 3 kicks and a handball. And Answorth's been superb. Stuck to his task for the whole of the game.
Still minding him back in the goal square at the punt road end where the Hawks are trying to head here. Get some belated goals. McCluggage tracks it down with other ideas. Ashcroft back to the middle. There is Devon Robertson, but he's beaten by the numbers. The numbers were Hawthorn's. Jath to Weddle, encircled by Lions. McCluggage takes off, bangs it up into an open paddock. Hipwood, Sicily. Hipwood a fumble. Sicily latches on. The handball back to Neal. Back further to Dunkley. Awkward kick, smothered. And now Weddle continue to run.
Oh, man.
Hunted down. Left foot kick around the corner from Ashcroft. It was Bailey with a high flyer. That was unrealistic, which is going to cost Loman a chance to try and take a big mark.
No one's got close to Josh Weddle. That was Josh Dunkley that closed him down then. Late in the 4th quarter.
Battle straight down the middle of the MCG. Weddle McGuinness lays it. Warple. Jath. Morrison, one of Hawthorn's better players this afternoon. In on the 45 to Newcomb. Squeezes it forward. Nash, one hand on it, now falls over as he tried to evade. D'Ambrosio, McDonald 3 in the first half. Hawks have got men out the back. Oh, that's a good spoil by Zorko not to give away a free and sees it across the line.
What do you... Well, we'll do this balling, Jace, but the next time we play, we'll get your thoughts on the Hawks and where they're at.
I was just going to say, guys, they've only beaten one top 8 team as it stands. They'll probably still be 4th at the end of the round.
Defensively, I reckon they've looked a bit impotent today.
And mids have been tested as well with the depth that Brisbane have.
Yeah, and their defenders, who were really good early, just got split open. So, work to do for Sam Mitchell. There's no question about that.
On the move here, looking to beat Nate. Thought he might do it himself. McGuinness through the maze. Good kick from Leicester. Loman reaching for it. Didn't quite go his way. Battle came to a standstill. Warple, Amon just sorted through what was ahead quickly in his mind. Out wide to Nash. Returned today after a 4-week spell. Yeah, took it full stride. Bangs away at goal. This is by the proverbial.
How you see him, Jace?
I think the midfield's a work in progress, and we've seen them last week and this week again get belted in clearances, and particular centre bounce clearances has become a big issue for them. And they've probably been flattered because Gunston's played so well. The veteran who, was probably unexpected to play 12 or 14 games for the year, has been their best forward all year. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get amongst it tonight. But he's played really well to this point in time. Well, but you can't rely on that because it's a big man who's not going to have a lot of football under his belt. We've seen Kawashidir came back last week. He was sorely underdone after a long time out. So they've got problems up forward. If Chol can't find his best form and Gunston can't continue to play at a high level, they're just relying on too few. That's the problem, which is why they will experiment at times. And they wanted to push Weddle forward, and Hardwick spent a lot of time forward. It's all about trying to find the right mix.
Seagulls landing into the MCG as the Hawks go through the middle. Warple, he's got Nash as the runner. Gets around McCluggage. Important hand in there, Weddle. Spreads it out wide to Morrison. And marks in front of Dunkley. Doesn't look comfortable with the distance. Short to McGuinness.
Just haven't seen the purity of ball movement.
I think we should not take anything away from what Brisbane have been able to do in that regard. I think that they've defended so well. I think this is a really disciplined Brisbane side who close down gaps, who stick to their task really well. Super coached, super well coached, and they're all on the same pace. So I think that's made it hard for Hawthorn to try and open this game up.
3 goals for the season for Finn McGuinness. We won't be adding to that at this moment.
I think it's been pretty instructional about Brisbane as well. I think that what we're seeing here is a super side who are, went on the same page. Like their forward line hasn't exactly clicked. Eric Hipwood's been well beaten by Barras, but then they go and slide Cam Rayner down there.
But that's the thing, guys. They've got so many quality players that can bob up and kick 3 or 4 goals from. Archie can do it. Cameron can do it. Rayner can go forward and do it. And that's if Hipwood's not getting amongst the Logan Morris is.
Harris off the left, tries his luck again. Andrews in front, Gunston reaching out.
They've picked him off in the lead really well, Jack Gunston. They've sat off him, they've allowed him to lead, and they've run past him.
Crowd of 58,000 almost tonight. It's the biggest in a home and away game between these two teams. First time over 45,000. And I think a few Hawks may have just suck out the exit.
Plenty of Brisbane fans here. We've heard them up and about when they were kicking goals in a run. They were really getting rowdy.
They're going to break the hoodoo. First time to beat the Hawks this decade. First time at the MCG since 2004, which is astonishing. And all this in the milestone of Chris Fagan, the gum-chewing.
Just relaxed pre-game, Jace, wasn't he?
Game number 200. It's been a beauty.
I'm not sure if this man's come to the right ground.
Well, the next time and the only time we're going to see Brisbane back here is in round 21 against Collingwood. We did that game last year, Gaz. It was one to remember, so can't wait for that.
I'm not sure it's right. 15 weeks early, Hutto.
Yep. Got to get in early for the big games.
Celebration also for Lockie Neal, qualifies for AFL Life membership today. And also it's his birthday as well, and he's going to celebrate it with a win.
He's had a birthday. He's had 32 touches.
And he's 32 years old.
Ginnivan scooped away. He'll get penalised. There's a big win for Brisbane. Being questioned.
50 for abuse, another lack of discipline. Looks like it was Ginnivan. I love how they fought this right out to the last siren. The lines, the pressure, the tackling, the intent. It's all been there.
And the style of play that they wanted to play in this last quarter has been superb. Just deny. There was no chance for momentum for the Hawks.
McCluggage, deep ball forward. Hawthorn with the numbers in the air. Sicily tracks back to Hardwick. Goes across the goals. And Brisbane come to the MCG and do a big job on the Hawks by 33 points. Do not forget, they are the reigning premiers. Brisbane 21 point up at three-quarter time. They finished over the top of the Hawks with a 3-goal-to-1 final term to run out winners by 33 points. Archie was a standout. Kicked 4 goals and had a stack of the ball as well. Did Archie, 20 disposals with his 4. McDonald kicked 3 in the first half. But Brisbane have come to the MCG and dominated the brown and gold.
Where the big finals are played, the biggest of them all, back here and honour their coach in his 200th game in the best possible way as we go down to Sarah Jones.
I've got Charlie Cameron alongside me. The game was a real arm wrestle until you ignited it with those 3 goals in quick succession. Could you feel the momentum shift?
Yeah, I just felt like once you got territory, got the ball inside our 50, it was crucial. And there were back 6 where if you just give them time and space, they can just hurt you on that backside. So we just wanted to cover the outlets and just get a contest, and was pretty fortunate on a couple of goals.
Fake said last week after the loss to Melbourne that you guys didn't look hungry enough. How hard is it when you're the hunted week after week? You set the standard just to maintain that level of intensity.
Yeah, it was we were a bit shocked, not shocked, but we just accepted it. And Melbourne was a quality side last week, and even Brisbane, North Melbourne before that. So we knew coming out here, we won some big games here, so we knew what we can do on this ground. It's just about worrying about the process and not the result, and that happened throughout the game, and we just stuck to our processes.
The coach's 200th game milestone today. How much do you love Chris Fagan?
Yeah, and I appreciate him a lot. He got me here from Adelaide. He's let me, I guess, be myself out here, and he's a passionate old man, and when he's on the bench you can see him screaming and stuff, and I'm on there, I was like, just settle down. Golf, he talks about golf, he's been a goldfish out there, so moving on, so yeah, credit to him. Didn't play in the AFL game, so he had to do it the hard way, and got the rule last year, so yeah, it's a pretty special game for him. So
what's he going to love most about today's win?
I think just, we knew last week we just didn't play at our best, and we came out here and just worry about the process and got it done. So yeah, I think he'd be happy, old man. So I don't know where he is right now, but he's smiling.
You've got to stop calling him an old man. He may well see this interview on Fox Footy.
Nah, I always tease him and stuff. So he loves it, and he keeps him young and keeps me young. I'm 30, so I feel like I'm old in some of the young blokes here. So, but all good.
Well, you played brilliantly today, and a short turnaround to the Bombers next week. What have you liked about them?
Oh, they're a young group and exciting young group, so it's going to be a tough matchup. And like we versed North Melbourne, Melbourne, like the sides are, I guess, down, not at the bottom, but it's teams that are just there, really giving a fight. So we've just got to be on our game from the start, and yeah, it should be a good one Thursday night, 5-day turnaround. So like I said, it's going to be a quick week. So yeah, I'm getting old, like I said.
Loved your performance today, Charlie. Well done.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Good stuff, Charlie Cameron, and their coach, I think, they brought back out to be part of it on the MCG. This is the last time that Brisbane were able to beat Hawthorn on the MCG. 2004.
Left tackle.
Have a look at the conditions.
4 weeks
Late
there.
transfer there.
Well, they've had a great result here. And actually, we were just watching as we have a look at this. Chris Fagan, the 200 gamer, modestly went down the race. There's Big Brownie. You love to see that.
No wonder we're showing.
Yeah, he must have rung up. Said, about a couple of highlights of me. Fags went down the race and they went and got him and dragged him back out. So maybe they're going to cheer him off.
Famous faces there. So Chris Fagan, his record since 2019, 70% win rate, Sarah Jones. What a coach and what a player you've got alongside you down there.
I've got Calamachi alongside me. 4 goals on grand final day here on the MCG and 4 again today. What do you love about this place?
I love playing at the G. I think the boys really enjoyed it as well, and it's always good to come back here. And obviously needed to win against these guys. It's been a while, so to get a win in front of the fans, it's awesome that I showed out. So it's fantastic.
Fourth quarters have been a little ordinary from you guys of late. What was Chris's message at 3/4 time?
Fags just pretty much said to keep going, forget about the scoreboard, and just keep putting our pressure on. I think our pressure was super all day, and our defense, you could tell we were on. So we worked on that. Obviously, the last couple of weeks have been a little bit down. So the boys did well today, and short turnaround for next week. So get ready to go again.
How special is it to do it in Siddup Nichols around? Your family had a hand in designing this beautiful jumper.
It's a very special round for me and my family and all the Indigenous people out there. And my older brother Jordan did a fantastic job with the Guernsey, and it's great we get to wear a home and an away one. So it's fantastic to get a win in Siddup Nichols round, and it's just such a great round for celebrating our culture, and hopefully made all the mob back home proud tonight.
You had a brilliant game, but the midfield, the depth of this incredible midfield, how much does it impress you?
Oh, it's huge. As well as our, defense as well. Our defenders, they were huge as well. But we just got so many blokes that can roll through the midfield, and so many young blokes as well. You look at the Ashcroft brothers. They're fantastic and love their energy, and then they come down and play forward as well and kick goals. So we love it, and they meant to super tonight.
I spoke to Charlie about the coach and this special milestone for Chris Fagan. What does he mean to you personally, and where he's got your football to?
Oh yeah, he's just a fantastic mentor, and he's done so much for me and the club as well. And the boys really wanted to get the win for him tonight, and I'm so glad that we got the win for him. It's it was a special week, and hopefully he enjoys singing the song.
A loss and a draw heading into this one. Was there a feeling, okay, let's get cracking now?
Yeah, definitely. We had, obviously a couple of down weeks, and some that got away. So we definitely wanted to bounce back this week, and I think we played a really, really good game tonight. We put it all together, and all facets of the game, and we came away with a good win. So take that into next week.
Are we going to chair Fags off? What's the plan? 200 games.
I hope the boys do actually. I might let them know. We'll see how we go.
There's an idea straight from Fox Woody. Well done, Cal. Great game today.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Thanks to Sarah and Carly. He refers to himself as the CEO, Chris Fagan, the Chief Energy Officer. It's the little things too. Notice Lockie Neal just handing over his boots, Gary, giving a couple of young fans a massive boost in the crowd. Cal's going over there now.
He wouldn't let them. He wouldn't let them.
Get him up, but he said no. He's just a low-key Tasmanian, is that man? But he's the reigning premiership coach.
Well, guard of honour, love it.
Great scenes, Gary.
This is fair. This gives you an idea of just how
Look at the passion in this club.
revered this man is, and he's led them to the Holy Grail last year, and he's got them in ripping shape again after a big win here at the MCG. So
Great scenes, aren't they?
they are great scenes, and this is a tight footy club, obviously, and it's all very good to give away your footy boots when you get 40 pairs a year. Howie,
I just liked
me and
it.
Chief used to get one.
Greg Swan just jumping in and made that initial phone call when Chris Fagan at age 55 said, I can coach, it's still my passion, even though he'd been the football manager at Hawthorn at the age of 55. He was appointed coach, and a couple of really hard years. They won 5 games in each of the first 2, and of course stayed positive, turned it around, played finals. He was doubted. They couldn't win here at the MCG for so long, but they ticked off so many things in his journey. And of course, after falling short against Collingwood, they were absolutely magnificent last year against the Swans.
And then they added a kid called Levi Ashcroft to this premiership. I know they lost Joe Danaher, but they look very, very imposing this afternoon on this magnificent ground.
And they mentioned the Indigenous job. They won a home one, they won their own version last week. What did you say, that red?
It is red. I love this. I love the respect they've shown Chris Fagan. I think he's become a fantastic coach. He's uniquely aware of everything that's needed for a football department to operate correctly. The love and generosity of time and patience and understanding that's required to get the best out of every player on the list. And you can tell how much the players love him as a leader and what he brings to this group, and that's why they've been successful.
An 8th win of the season for the Brisbane Lions. They shore up their spot in the top 4 by 33 points and celebrate their coach's 200th game. Performance by the Brisbane Lions. They're home by 33 points, and for now they are on top of the AFL ladder, and this defence of last year's premiership is going pretty well. Kath Lockman.
Sure is. Thank you, Hutto. It is Super Saturday live on Fox Sport 2 by the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. Oh, what a feeling. David King, Jack Greenwald, Jake Clark, Brisbane Lions.
All right, folks, while that is done, the song has been sung. Oh, I sound a little bit, got a bit of a rhyme up there. It's the Lions 14-9-93 defeating the Hawks 8-12-60 by 33. It's been like a decade or more since the Lions have beaten the Hawks at the MCG. Can you believe it? The Lions 3 goals 4 in that final term. The Hawks just 1 goal 4. Tell you what, that is the Brisbane Lions that we know. That is the reigning premiership side. That's how they get the job done. Good to see them back in form. I think now that puts them on top of the ladder. Look, the Hawks didn't do too bad today. There's just something missing there. Their forward line really wasn't working today. I know Gunston had a bit of a quiet one, but he's been pretty good most of the season. The small forwards, though, Ginnivan and the Wizard didn't do much down there today for the Hawks. The Lions were just too good. They were just too good. They were pretty much in control of this game, even though up to half time where she was pretty tight battle, I thought Brisbane were just marginally in front there, and then it was the team that probably faltered a little bit, that was going to let the other side off the chain and run away, and that's exactly what happened. Brisbane getting the job done today. Let's just duck over and finalise these goal scorers and disposal getters for the game. Of course, Kalamanchi topped the table for the Lions, and overall with 4 goals. Charlie Cameron with 3. Cam Rayner, Logan Morris with 2. Zach Bailey, Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft, all singles for the Lions. For the Hawks, so Connor McDonald with 3. Wordle, Nash, Moore, Hardwick, Ginnivan got 1 each. There we go. Look at the disposal magnets out on the ground. It was Dane Zorko, Lockie Neal. Of course, they led the way all day. 33 to Zorko, 29 kicks. 4 handballs, 9 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances. Lockie Neal, 32 touches, 20 kicks, 12 handballs, 5 marks, 5 tackles, 5 clearances. They're the only 2 in the 30 mark today. Hawthorn, Carlamon was their top disposal getter out on the field with 29. Harry Morrison next best on 28. Will Ashcroft ended up with 26. Warple 23. Let's just quickly roll down the board here. We're not too far away, folks. We're going to get over to the Collingwood North Melbourne game. That should be another cracking game. Let's see. Giath was up to 21, so he had a reasonably good game there for the Hawks. As I said, Connor McDonald, 23 goals, 1 for him. Kalamanchi, I thought, was just outstanding today. He played one of his best games that I've seen him play for a while. 20 touches, 13 kicks, 7 handballs, 10 marks. He just had the 1 tackle, but he kicked 4 goals too, so just fantastic. Charlie Cameron there, 14 touches, ended up with 3. As I was saying, Jack Ginnivan, 13 touches, just a 1 goal, 1. Gave away a couple of 50s for abuse to the umpires. So they've got to quieten themselves down a bit for that aspect. So did Sicily. Just became a little bit frustrated. Gunston could only manage the 3 behinds today from his 8 possessions, 6 kicks. And the Wizard, well, he needs to, I don't know, change something about him. Maybe get a haircut. 4 touches, 3 kicks, 1 behind. That is it. That is it. team stats. Let's have a little bit of a look. Well, there's only three the difference, plus 3 to the Hawks. The Lions definitely preferred to kick. Hawks definitely liked handball. 51-53, both teams getting plenty of inside 50. Plenty of opportunity for both teams. Brisbane Lions just utilised that ball the best, going inside forward 50. Disposal efficiency pretty good for both teams. Both teams above 74%. Free kicks, though, interesting, 13-23. The Lions plus 10. It didn't really look like it, but there we go. 13-23 hit-outs. The Hawks definitely won that, 49-30. Lions definitely the better team in the clearances today. Their midfield was on song, 41-24. Centre clearances, domination by the Lions, 2-1, 14-7, 14-7, plus 7 to the Lions. Stoppage clearances, plus 10. Contested possessions, well, just only plus 18 to the Lions. Pretty fiercely contested game out there today, uncontested. Well, 256, 232, not a great deal of difference there. Both teams had the same amount of marks out on the field. Hawthorn actually got 16 inside 50 marks to the Lions, just the 11. There we go. I think a lot of those marks were pretty much like at the 49, 47, 45 metre range, where some of the smaller players couldn't quite reach the distance. I just need to put it down to around about the 30 metre mark there. Tackles, of course, Brisbane. They brought more heat today, 59-36, plus 23 in that department. You look at the Hawks, there we go, 36. That's, well, that's only probably 60% of their season average. Tackles inside 50, Lions again on top, plus 3. It was a fantastic job. Let me just reload up this ladder for all those happy Brisbane Lions supporters. You're on top. Brisbane Lions back on top of the ladder after playing 11, 8 wins, 2 losses and a draw. Half a game clear of the mighty Magpies, who will be coming up next. So the Brisbane Lions will be hoping North Melbourne can defeat Collingwood to stay on top of the ladder. Should be an interesting game coming up. And of course, Hawthorn stay down there in 5th. I think they moved from 4th to 5th, losing a little bit of percentage there. A game and a half now off top of the ladder. Some of the games, though, important games to win are these games. All right. Let's have a look and see who these two teams are playing next week, folks. Next week, of course, for these two teams. Let me just bring that up. Let me put it back on the scoreboard there. I'll tell you who Hawthorn and the Lions are coming up next Thursday night. It's going to be a quick turnaround for the Brisbane Lions next Thursday night at the Gabba. They've got a home game. And, of course, they're coming up against Essendon. So that should be a pretty interesting game. But I would expect Brisbane would have a nice, comfortable victory up there at the Gabba against Essendon next Thursday night. And, of course, big match again for Hawthorn next week. Friday night football next week for the Hawks. They're coming up against Collingwood. Can you believe it? They've got some tough matches. This is going to be a really interesting match, of course, back at the MCG next Friday night for Hawthorn taking on Collingwood. Should be an absolute cracking game. Should be a packed stadium. Can the Hawks get it done? Well, I don't know. The Pies will be there to stop them. So 2 fantastic games for these teams coming up next week. Brisbane taking on Essendon. Hawthorn taking on Collingwood at the MCG. Should be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game. North and the Pies is going to be a good game. It should be a good game, Carly. It should be a fantastic game. Look, North Melbourne have been in really good form. And, of course, the Pies going pretty well as well. Of course, as we know, we've got a couple of superstars of Collingwood resting tonight, still side bottom. Bobby Hill out of the side. So that could, I think they're just taking precautions, resting some of the older players, give them a bit of freshen up, because next week when they come up against Hawthorn, they'll definitely want all their guns in, because Hawthorn are a bit of a young, got a good running side. So Collingwood need to have their legs with them. Leo, how you going there? Welcome. Thanks for coming in. LMK, good to have you in here, of course. Footy Knickers, you tipped the Lions. Let's go. Well done. Well done. Congratulations for that. Tino, thanks for hanging in there. The manager's in the house. Brian seems, I know, Gunston's not a complete reject. He just had one of those quiet days. I think he's been the best forward for Hawthorn all season. and he certainly brought the Hawks home for some victories. So don't worry about that. You got the old stage is doing all right down there. Don't worry about that. Thanks, Triple B. 4 from 4 in your tips. And Violet Ray said hi also earlier on. But what a fantastic match. I tell you what, it was a ring-a-ding-ding game, folks. This one out there today. Both teams played really good football from what I see. If you take away the result, 33-point margin to the Brisbane Lions, 20 scoring shots to 23. Hawthorn should have got some of those goals. They missed some simple goals, and that would have definitely brought the margin back. And of course, when you hold the margin tighter, some teams they just don't quite get on that run. And when you miss a sort of a simple goal and it goes down the other end, it's like a 2-goal turnaround, and that can really spark the team on, which it did the Lions. And so that's one of the things you've got to, as I always keep saying, you've got to take your chances when they come. You got to kick straight. You got to kick accurate. You got to kick through the big sticks, and that puts definitely scoreboard pressure on. That lifts the team. That lifts the crowd. That lifts all the individual players out there and gives them extra life in their legs to run. But I tell you what a fantastic game. The Hawks, well, they'll probably go away. They'll just have to review this tape, see what they can do a little bit different. But the Brisbane Lions, I tell you what, they did nothing wrong today. They were absolutely fantastic. This is the Brisbane of old. This is what we come to see, the reigning premiership champs, how they were in the grand final last year and late last season. They were just absolutely fantastic. There was no faults in their game today. They were absolutely sensational out there today. And I tell you what, if you're a Brisbane supporter, you'll be super duper happy with the way they performed. Of course, and one of the other things I just couldn't believe were Hawthorn were actually favourite going into this game. I think Brisbane were at 240 outsiders going into this game, which really, to me, seemed juicy odds about that. So that was quite good. Of course, in the poll today, we did have the poll today, who was going to win this game. 55% did go for Brisbane Lions. There we go. Joe Salah in Hong Kong. Hey, mega love, shout out. Long time no see. I hope you're doing well. I had popped over just covertly over some of your lives when you've been singing. I tell you what, folks, if you want to listen to a good singer, head over to Joe Salah in Hong Kong, who's just come into the chat. All famous, fantastic singer, great person. Thanks for coming in. It's really good to see you. Next time I must say hi in the chat when I'm over at your live as well. But, I just sit back, relax, and listen to you sing. That's wonderful. All right, folks. Hey, that's all we got for this one. We're wrapping this up. Of course, the Brisbane Lions, big winners by 33 points. But don't forget, stay tuned because the next game coming up in about 15, 18 minutes time is, of course, North Melbourne taking on Collingwood at Marvel Stadium. Kangaroos outsiders 495. The Collingwood Magpies short favourites at 118. Hey, you know what? I'm a Collingwood supporter. It wouldn't surprise me to actually see North Melbourne topple the Pies, just the way the form of North have been playing. But that being said, Collingwood, really well coached, structured side. They've got all their play down well. They'll get a few players back, and of course a couple of the stars resting tonight. Who knows, folks? Who knows? It could end up a Brisbane Collingwood grand final. Wouldn't that be something? And maybe do a repeat of 2023. Shut up. Well, I only say that because that's when the Pies won. But hey, congratulations to Brisbane Lions tonight on their fantastic victory. I think they'll be celebrating well, and of course celebrating Chris Fagan's 200th game as coach today for the Brisbane Lions. They wanted to cheer him off, but he said no. So the players did a guard of honour for the coach. It was just fantastic. A lot of love for the coach there. He's a well-loved figure up there in Brisbane by his supporters, players, and everyone around. So what a fantastic day, what a fantastic game, what a fantastic result for Brisbane and everyone associated with them. All right, folks, that's all I got for this one. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. Great to see you again, Joe Salah. Hopefully you're doing well. But for me, I am out of here, folks. As I said, it was the Lions today by 33, just way too good for the Hawks, who gave it their best shot against the mighty Brisbane Lions. Hey, don't forget, if you want to listen to the Collingwood North Melbourne game, folks, around about 20 minutes time, we'll be live for that game. And of course, we'll keep you up to date with the other game, of course, which is, let me just refresh my memory, which is, that's correct, Fremantle and Port Adelaide. So they'll be about a quarter behind the North Melbourne Collingwood game, but we'll keep the good folks there up to date with the score there. Hawks did bad. Hawks Prods, how you going? You were watching it. Yeah, well, you know what? I think the Hawks, well, for a good part of the game, they weren't too bad. It's just their forward line, just it really wasn't connecting. And you know what? The Hawks did look good. They did look dangerous when they moved the ball fast, because I think that's how the Hawks play their best football, is when they just move the ball fast and get their legs running. They certainly do stretch the opposition. I think they might have just slowed the game down a little bit today, and just weren't hitting the targets. Up forward. So that was probably it. You know, they probably could have changed a couple of things up forward, perhaps. After the fact, it's all easy enough to say that, but you got to do it in there. Yeah, the forward line was kind of bad. I thought the rest of it was reasonably good, but you know, they'll go away from this game and process and review. Of course, the Hawks got a monster game coming up next week against Collingwood, so it's going to be just as tough next week as it was today. So they're going to be on song and put all their effort and energy into next week's game now. So the rest was all right. Yeah, that's it. It was a great game. It truly felt like, you know, for 3/4 of that game, it really felt like a final. You could have been thinking to yourself, you're watching a grand final here. That's how good both these teams were pretty much playing. So yeah, don't be disappointed in that. Sometimes you just got to have a loss to go forward. Just like the Brisbane Lions, you know, they got beat by Melbourne when Melbourne weren't going overly well, and then, you know, they let the lead slip last week against North Melbourne to draw that game. So some teams, you just go through some of these lower patches and slower patches, and then you just build yourself back up, and it gives you a real kick in the butt to get you back on track, get you focused in the right direction again. It was great, but I don't think we'll get to the grand final. You just never know. Not quite halfway through the season yet. You know, if the Hawks just can fix up a few things, they'll be well and truly on track. But you know, it just shows you've got to be able to put pressure on. You've got to be able to put pressure on. You've got to be able to absorb the pressure, and you've got to be able to score, and you've got to be able to take your chances. You've got to be accurate in kicking at goals. So that's all super important. But yeah, look, a 4/4 effort you really need. You got to understand there's going to be ebbs and flows, momentum swings, especially can become, you know, finals, grand finals, such things like that. But you just never know. The horse could just turn it all around. You never know. Mackenzie was off for some reason. I'm not sure of the reason there. All right. Thanks, Hawk. Thanks everyone for popping on in. Hey, that's all I've got for this one. I'll catch you. Let me have a check on the countdown clock. Yeah, it's about 15 minutes away for the next game, the North Melbourne Collingwood one. So we'll see you over on that game. All right, folks. Ciao for now. Thanks again, and we'll catch you at the next game.